Well, Wendy's is clapping back at Katy Perry for returning to Earth on the Blue Origin space shuttle. Dave Thomas's daughter wrote on Twitter, "Can we please send her back to space?" So I think it's safe to say that Katy Perry won't be making her first meal back on Earth a junior bacon cheeseburger.
They really roasted her up.
Yeah, what the hell? I was happy to say that, but what the hell is going on with that Wendy's Twitter? They say stuff like that. Dave Thomas would be, I don't know if has passed on, but he'd be rolling in his grave if he knew that his daughter was tweeting that kind of stuff from that account.
Did you see that Kesha posted slurping a Wendy's shake after that?
Kesha posted slurping a Wendy's shake in defiance of Katy Perry, or to antagonize and build upon
Wendy's
this
commentary.
Oh my God! Why have we found out why Wendy's has such a distaste for Katy Perry?
I don't know why Wendy's does, but I know why Kesha does, and it's sad.
Okay. Too sad to. Should we not delve into it?
Yeah, it's that dark stuff about Dr. Luke, but
yeah, okay.
I have to imagine that Katie's PR team and, Gail, I don't think Gail really cares. I don't think people are as mad at Gail because she has so much goodwill, but Katie's getting beat to shit online.
Yeah, people just don't like, Katy Perry, right? For a bunch of reasons.
She was already in her flop era, and then she did this, and it's just giving out of touch, and everyone's... things are so bad on Earth that it's like the timing could not be worse to do something like that.
Well, what if people are like, well, you guys, you all went out of Earth because as a protest almost to say, we don't like what's going on. Does that make any sense? That would have been
a cool thing to say.
Oh, would it have been? If they said, we don't like stuff on Earth so much that that's why we left on this shuttle?
Yeah, she should have protested Amazon while she was in the Bezos pod.
Oh, could you imagine? Bezos would have been so pissed if she said in the shuttle, she goes, by the way, Amazon is bad for small businesses. Could you imagine Jeff Bezos' face when he was looking through the portal at them when they came back? He'd be like, what the hell? You guys were just on the Blue Origin. Anyway, you and I have been talking nonstop about that space shuttle launch, and so we're still in the throes of it. If you can't tell.
What's the right phrase? I got drunk on his dime last night. I went to an Amazon premiere party, and I was like, every glass of champagne I have is making Jeff Bezos poorer. So I have no choice but to drink 10 drinks.
Holy shit. Tell me more. What Amazon premiere? Can you tell me?
It was the new Amy Sherman Palladino show, Étoile. It's about ballet. My sister worked on it. I'm in New York visiting her. And so, yeah, we got to see that. There were some familiar faces in attendance, and I did my due diligence and had lots of cocktails.
Wow, you completely stuck it to Bezos. He's going to be looking at the champagne bill from the premiere party, and he's going to go, who the hell drank 8 champagnes when you're only supposed to have about 3 or 4? You just pissed him off again.
His bank account is tanked.
Oh my God. That is so fun. Was Tony Shalhoub at the party?
I didn't see him. There were some Maisel people there, some Gilmore Girls people there. Katie Holmes was there. I don't know what her tie-in is.
Katie Holmes. Oh my God, I just had to think for a second. Holy shit, that is amazing. Who's the collaborator that plays the Maisel's agent?
Yeah.
Alex Bornstein.
Did you see her? Voice of Lois Griffin.
Oh, did you see her running
I actually
around?
didn't see her.
Okay.
But yeah, Katie Holmes looked great. She's thriving, I think.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Well, good. Well, speaking of, I don't want to say this segue, but speaking of a bunch of fun stuff like this, speaking of premieres, was that yours was a premiere, right?
Yeah. It felt good to be out on the town on a night when I knew everyone else in the U.S. was watching The Valley.
Oh, it did? Oh, you mean like because we had already seen it and the embargo was lifted finally, and so you could be out
I
in the
kind of
world
do wish I was out at like Jax's or something to watch, which I did see someone posted that the beer cheese was stricken from the menu for the premiere.
I saw that too. I think it was just because there was a huge rush for people to eat as much beer cheese as possible right when they got in, and the chefs back there were probably like, "Oh my god, we can't handle, how much beer cheese we need to serve."
You don't think it was retaliatory against Mamaw and the entire family?
Oh, that's the alternate theory that makes more sense than what I said. Oh, Jax is purposefully saying, "Man, we don't want to ever have anything to do with Mama and her beer cheese because I don't like the Cartwright the Cartwright family anymore." Oh, I didn't even think about that. Wow. Well, holy shit. Well, speaking of premieres, this is a bad segue, but speaking of things that are going to premiere someday, I was watching Beverly Hills, and I saw all of a sudden a pink flamingo was lit up in neon lights, and I go, "Oh my god." I go, "What the fuck is this?" And they were teasing the upcoming season of Real Housewives of Miami. I was so excited to see it. Lisa Hochstein was dancing her ass off. Everybody else was there, it looks like. And they didn't set a premiere date or anything, but it was kind of just like a flashing sign to be like, look out for Miami. It's coming. I binged the shit out of Miami when Megan was pregnant, sort of around the 8-month mark. We just watched the shit out of it. And so it's been off for the entire time. Like, I didn't know when it was coming back. So I'm very excited, and I can't wait for us to talk about this new season of Miami once it comes out.
Yeah, I'll do a full rewatch. As we've said many times, I watched it when it was on originally, and then I never made my way back to the new seasons. So I'll just watch the whole thing again, and I'll be happy to do that. It was nice to see like that they have a priority that they're excited enough about to do a dateless teaser.
Yeah, it was like, what is the equivalent of that? It was like a iPhone launch, when they used to do. Do you remember those iPhone ads when it was like you saw the yellow iPod or whatever when they were dancing?
Right.
It was kind of like that. It was like, we don't know words, just these colors. And people, I don't know if you had iPod fever back then. Look at it. There's one moment that I can't wait for you to watch in Miami of the newer era. It involves Julia, and it involves a really sweet, beautiful gift/tribute that she gives to her wife. And I can't wait for you to watch that moment. And I can't wait to discuss this new era of Miami with you once it comes out. It'll probably be announced in the next couple of months. We'll be watching this shit. So that's you and I were worried. Obviously, you and I have been going through the doldrums. We've been talking about it. We've been sputtering on fumes, but Miami is going to be a huge boon, for Turtle Time and our listeners.
Atlanta's all we've got right now. Housewives, right? Housewives, wise.
Yes, that's it. Oh my God, that's it. So, but people are going to be excited because we haven't even said about it, but we're talking about the Valley today as well. So you're going to hear our Valley coverage. It's some of the most piping hot Valley coverage you can ever hear, wouldn't you say? Because we watched it and then we provided the most piping hot takes you could ever have, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's kind of like scary for some reason, I guess, because it's like the first episode and it's covers so much stuff. Like, we will have talked about it before seeing the public response. I stand by everything we said, I think.
There's a couple things. That I'm now worried about. So here, actually, that's the perfect thing to say. Amy and I watched The Valley and recorded our commentary. You're not going to notice a difference at all. When this is going to be one of the most seamless transitions you've ever seen in the history of podcasting. But
my surroundings changed, but that's just because.
You had to really quickly. Yeah, you had to really quickly get to a new environment so we could talk about the Valley secretly because we didn't want to. Anyway, but I just want to say we talked about it before the public reaction. So if for some reason, like, there's some huge public perception shift that's like the worst thing in the world about one of the cast members, just know that Amy and I did our commentary far in the past, so we are absolved of all guilt, right?
Well, also we did record it before we watched the after show.
Yes.
Which I just saw. I didn't have a chance to watch. It's 37 minutes. I thought I was going to be able to get it in under the wire because usually they're like 15 minutes. Sometimes they're like 8 minutes.
Sometimes they don't even premiere until the 8 episodes into the season. Bravo is like Scrooge McDuck jumping into a bunch of coins with the Valley right now. Now that Vanderpump Rules is over, they are like, we are getting everything from the Vanderpump Rules fervor, and we want that going to the Valley. That is why Brock, Lala, Sheena, and who else am I forgetting? Just those three, and Schwartz are they're the entire time for the entire after show proceedings. Even though they're basically friend ofs in the Valley universe, they are sucking everything, or utilizing the former fervor of Vanderpump Rules to put that energy into the Valley. And, we love it. I'm proud of that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. After that, I watched like 10 minutes of it, and the only main takeaways I got from the very beginning was that apparently that Julian guy is a real succubus. Like, everyone that hangs out with him says that they always have to pay for everything. And that their men's group chat that they're always talking about has 22 members.
Yeah, I know. So you and I, unfortunately, you're going to hear a huge error that Amy and I made when we were talking about that boys group chat and the commentary to come. So just know we had no clue that it was 22 boys in that chat. No, that was interesting too. A lot of stuff. They kind of parse whether Julian is close to Jax, and I think it's getting a little ridiculous to parse it that much. It's like, obviously they were close enough, in Jax's mind, but they weren't, I guess, considered best friends. But
the best part I saw was that Jax again was like, show me a man who wouldn't freak out about something like that. And he goes, imagine if I hooked up with either Michelle or Katie, because he's with Jesse and Schwartz. And Schwartz is like, Katie fucked Max. He's one of my best friends. And he was like, you don't count. You don't care about anything.
Yeah, that was a great, wonderful moment. So when you're listening to our coverage, if you're like of the Valley and you're like, wait, what the hell? They're so wrong about this. The after show completely negated what they said. Come on. Give us a break. It was recorded before we saw that shit. Oh, I got to say, because we're champing at the bit to get to the Valley coverage. I know that. But I have to say, I went out to my favorite newsstand in the morning. I'm kind of like Marlon Brando in The Godfather. You know how he goes to the newsstand every morning? Fredo drops him off and drives him. And he goes and picks up a bunch of oranges and then goes to the newsstand to get his news. I am just like that. So I went today. I got the New York Times paper, and then I also got my favorite magazine, Us Weekly, and Lisa Vanderpump is on the cover of this shit with a full exclusive interview dedicated to her to promote, the Vanderpump Villa era, I assume. And I read the interview. I go, oh my God, I threw the person $9 and I go, can I just please run? I didn't even want to do the transaction. I had to get this Us Weekly into my car. And I read it, and I had to share this anecdote with you. I don't want to spoil the entire interview, but they asked Lisa kind of a question that I feel like you and I would ask if we ever had 15 minutes with Lisa. They said, what's your all-time favorite Vanderpump Rules moment? What moments flash for you? What does anything come to mind if you were imagining what Lisa's response would be to that? Does anything pop? I mean, okay, I'm not going to put you on the spot. This was not one of the moments that flashed before my mind, and I'm going to say what Lisa's favorite moment in the history of 11 years of Vanderpump Rules was. She goes, what made me laugh the hardest was when we fired Kristen Doty and the chefs in the kitchen were jumping up and down like she's gone. You can't write that stuff. So that's the first moment that was brought to Lisa's mind when she talked about the legacy of Vanderpump Rules. And I thought that was very interesting that it was, first of all, revolving around the firing of Kristen. And then it also had to include a moment that, took place in the Sir universe and had like the chefs commenting on, what had gone on. It's kind of like the perfect encapsulation of what Lisa considers, Vanderpump Rules to have been, which was the ecosystem of Sir or whatever, but just kind of a random stray moment that I didn't really
I feel like she's in a Cold War with Kristen. Like they're just like slinging zingers back and forth through the media.
Yeah, I guess that's also what's interesting about it is just this won't end. She hates Kristen so much, and so that's one of the moments, I guess, that brings her the most joy. She said in the interview that she never really liked her. She says that Jax ruined his relationship with me once he said that it was his show. She goes, he really shot himself in the foot with that one. She'll basically never forgive him after that. And then when they talked about what cast member she still keeps in touch with, she said Schwartz. And then she said that Lala will call her occasionally. And she says that Lala always says to her on every phone call, Lala says, I love you. My mother gave birth to Lauren, but you gave birth to Lala.
Whoa.
Isn't that beautiful? Every single time Lala calls Lisa, she ends a phone call by saying that. I could have never imagined that in my life. So everybody go to Us Weekly, go to the newsstand, your local newsstand, and go pick up the latest issue because there's a hard-hitting interview with Lisa Vanderpump where she says all this shit.
It sounds fun to subscribe to magazines like that, like get them in the mail. I think that would be so delightful.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh, when I used to run up to my mailbox and got the new issue of the New Yorker in my mailbox, I used to scream at the top of my lungs and say, I can't believe this happens every week.
We were talking about, so at the same time, I assume she's doing that cover to promote Vanderpump Villa.
Yes.
Her and Stassi were doing a press event today, and I saw on Instagram, and it's like Stassi posing with her. There's like a photo of them walking down a hotel hallway together. They're doing like, I don't know, it looked like an influencer event on like a rooftop.
My friend Zachary Reality, our friend of Turtle Time, got to go there and interview Stassi.
Well,
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
But it was funny to see that Stassi, she's been sort of off the grid Vanderpump wise for a long time, and she's just now partnering with Lisa at a time when most people are sort of slowly backing away after her James commentary and like other things.
Yeah, and her prying that producer that got fired, calling him purposefully to try to get information so that she could use it to tell Bravo like what he's going to say in future episodes of like the Bethany podcast and everything. This is probably the most toxic or one of the most toxic times for Lisa Vanderpump, and unfortunately Stassi has to align herself with Lisa right now when, you know, I don't think this is too controversial, but I have a feeling that Stassi probably will never forgive Lisa for some of the past offenses, and I don't think that we've truly gotten to the bottom of every single Lisa thing that we're going to hear in the future now that the cast have sort of been written off once all these memoirs come out, because I feel like we're getting all of these kind of horrifying Lisa anecdotes now, but I'm sure that in the entire run there's been more egregious examples of Lisa's character lapses in her moral judgment that we never knew about, but maybe we'll find out one day. So
right, yeah, I think Stassi, there was a clip where she was saying, me and my entire family get flown out to an Italian villa and, you know, get to hang out, like, say no more. And I'm like, I guess that's, not that hard of a offer to, what's the opposite of what I'm trying to say? It's a hard offer to turn down, because your kids get to go, your husband gets to go, and they fly you out probably, I would assume she negotiated first class to Italy. And then I think, if I remember, they like tacked on time on either end and like stayed there for a long time. So I get why she did it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, obviously, it's like no matter what anybody did, like no matter how awful they were, if they offered to fly you to Italy for your entire family, obviously without a shadow of a doubt, I'd be racing over to go.
Yeah, like if Kevin Spacey was the new host of The Traitors or something, and they asked us if we would be traitors or faithfuls, like maybe we would still do it.
Oh, of course. So who'd you say? I sorry, sorry. I don't know what the Riverside connection. Yes, of course I would be on Traders with whatever host you just said. No, but it's. I feel a little bit like Stassi. Obviously, this was okay. So she did get the Italian villa experience. She loves Italy. I've heard. I think she's talked about that. But I do think that this was in conjunction with her, like we've talked about a lot, her Hulu show, wherever the fuck that show is right. going to be. I feel like this is a time when she would not want to be aligned with Lisa, so it's kind of like a deal with the metaphorical devil, in a way.
Deal with Dante.
Deal with Dante, for sure.
Keep it Italian.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, that's okay. I had those wonderful news items, and I gotta say this next one. Do you care if I lead the next news segment? This one, I can't wait to talk about it with you. I found out right after we recorded last week or 2 days ago. What day is it? Oh, last week. We found out Queens of Bravo, obviously the best source for news in the Bravo universe. I picked up my phone after we recorded, and I saw shocking news. Taylor Ann Green, we all know her. Some people like her. Some people say, I don't know if I need more Taylor in my life. Taylor, unfortunately, said she has made the decision to leave Southern Charm. She goes, after months of deliberating, I have come to the decision that I want to move on with my life, get out of the Southern Charm universe, and I won't be participating next season. What does that make you? I just surprised you with that. How does that make you feel, Amy? What do you think?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'd say bye-bye. I'd say thank you. I'd say thank you for the memories. Obviously, she had one of the most iconic quotes in Bravo history. What about your girl cheated on you? She obviously was. I think we got to the end of the joy we could get from Taylor Ann Green and her role on Southern Charm, and definitely in a lackluster season, which we declared this current season of Southern Charm to be. She kind of stuck out like a sore thumb as a example of a cast that wasn't firing on all cylinders. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, I did appreciate that she tried to make it as though she made the choice. I like reading how people go about that every time.
Once you learn, I love these things that we learned since we've been doing Turtle Time, that Bravo gives everyone the out to say, you can say it was your decision, say whatever you want. And so then when you watch all of these exits, it's fun. Like you just said, it's fun to see how they justify how they were fired by Bravo. Because obviously,
literally, what else is she doing on Earth? No.
Well, she did announce a new business, which I'm going to be looking forward to. There's a huge. I'm going to look up that right after, but I am excited to see the next chapter of Taylor Ann Green. I just unfortunately think. I unfortunately think if you were going to make a decision with the cast, and they had to make a decision, that I mean, Taylor Ann Green, it just makes so much sense, now for this to be the end of that era. For her. So goodbye to Taylor Ann Green, for now, but I'm sure she'll be popping up on Southern Hospitality. I think she's like best friends with TJ, if you remember him on Southern Hospitality. I think Gaston is. So she'll probably be popping up in the Southern Hospitality universe. So Taylor Ann Green heads, don't get too bummed out. You could possibly get her popping in on Southern Hospitality.
Yeah, that would make sense. And then speaking of people who quit the show, I know we're not covering Beverly Hills Part 3 in its entirety today because there's just too much to talk about already. But it's official that Garcelle's moment where she walked away from the group photo has aired. And I saw the clip, I've seen the online commentary, and I know you watched it. So I wanted you to tell me what you saw and what you thought.
All right, this is a major spoiler, Amy, for you specifically. Garcelle leaves Beverly Hills and quits the show because nobody agreed with her that Dorit's home invasion was, what's it called, staged or / set up by PK, and that PK hired armed robbers to come into his home, hold Dorit at gunpoint, rob her. This is not funny. It's funny because I cannot believe that this is real. Garcelle was so upset and embarrassed that she was left out on a limb, and that Bo said, "That is terrible. That is awful, you suggesting that." That Dorit said, "Why would you say that when there's not one shred of proof that you're right?" Kyle said, "It's despicable, everyone." And obviously Sutton can't defend this. It's indefensible. We already talked about this. Garcelle felt so bummed out. Her mood is altered from part 1. She says nothing part 2. She says in part 3, "I don't even want to answer questions. I'm so upset right now. I can't even begin to tell you." And then finally she says, "I don't want to do the cast photo." She goes to her green room, and she tells everyone on camera, she tells the people that are in the room with her, she said, "I cannot believe that they are judging me for how I feel. And I told them all how I feel, and no one stood up for me in that moment." And it's just, to me, it is just so shocking that she doesn't understand that it's not a feeling. It doesn't matter how you feel. It's a horrendous, awful accusation that you're making against another cast member that is right in front of you, that is based off Reddit theories and Twitter replies. And Dorit, when she said, you have no basis for this. It's like Garcelle has not done research this, seen what detective was on the case, looked at the lawsuit that is possibly fired, the criminal court cases. She's just basing this completely off Beverly Hills anti-Dorit and anti-PK conspiracy theorist. Right. And that is why she left Beverly Hills. I can't imagine a more shocking reason for someone to leave a show than that.
So she specifically notes that topic in her green room? She
notes it. There is nothing else. I was watching part 3 like an eagle looking for any clues to what else is going to make Garcelle leave the show. And she does say that she felt like the energy shifted on her at some moment during the reunion. And I was personally screaming, saying, "It's because no one likes that you said that you think that Dorit faked this home invasion." So obviously,
what did she think? Like, no one ever wants to join her in that conversation every time she brings it up. And
she's more mad at Sutton. She lost the last. She went out on a limb, and unfortunately, that is one limb that even Sutton won't go out to the end of that branch with her. Not even close. So Sutton is not touching with a 10-foot pole.
She was sort of like retaliating by not taking the group photo. Like, you're not going to get that from me.
Yeah,
like it was like sort of like a just to be nothing happened in that moment. She was just saying, "I'm not giving that to you."
No, really nothing else. People can correct me. I really think that her energy completely shifted the minute that she did that. And once Bose was saying terrible, absolutely terrible, and Kyle said it was horrible, she knew that she was in an indefensible position, and she doesn't understand why people don't just agree to let her feel that way. But it's just it's like I already said, it's not a position that people want to give you the benefit of the doubt on. It's right. Too toxic. So yeah, I mean, I think that is the end of Garcelle's run, and I'm shocked that it came to that end. And Kyle even comments to Andy when Andy is shocked. He's like, "What is going on?" Kyle goes, "She didn't even have any drama this season."
Right? Yeah. No, it's like, unfortunately, it is giving dish it, but can't take it, in my opinion. Yeah. But Andy, the clip that I saw, he looked shocked but entertained. Like, I think he knew it was going to be fodder, so he was like, okay. I did also see a clip of Kyle saying that she almost bought a house across the street from Lisa Vanderpump, and I've never seen Andy more riled up. He was like, "Please do, please."
he wanted it so bad. He was basically putting his what's it called, fingers together, rubbing his hands together, wanting that moment. That was it. We're bordering on 30 minutes of spectacular, interesting, compelling news, in my opinion. But are we ready, you and I, are we ready to dip into the valley?
It's hot in the valley. Let's go.
it's hot in the valley, and instead of getting the hell out if we can't take the heat, Amy and I are diving right into the pit of hell to talk about the valley. So let's you and I take a certified turtle piss break, get the piss out of our body completely so we can be light as a feather for our valley commentary. How do you feel about that?
Fantastic.
Well, that was some of the most interesting news I've ever heard. I still can't believe it. But that doesn't hold a candle to the shit that we're about to talk about now. The Valley Season 2 premiere. Woo. Okay.
Who are these people?
Everyone is so excited to talk about the Valley. Everyone in the world. I feel like people have Valley fever around town. Have you been sensing it?
It's hot in the Valley, and everywhere is heating up residually.
Right. Right. What was that? That catchphrase they were going to use. It's hot, hot, hot in the Valley, and if you can't deal with it, then you got to stay the fuck out or whatever.
Get an Airbnb in Palm Springs.
Yeah. Oh my God. So you and I have been sitting on this thing, right? We feel like what's the example of someone who keeps a lot of secrets and they can't let it out ever? I feel like I've been trying to talk about all of the spoilers and shit from this, and you and I can only talk to each other about it for the last couple weeks.
I know, they gave it to us like a month early, so we got to watch it like once when we first got it and then again to talk about it. How did you feel upon rewatch? Like, did you enjoy it just as much the second time?
I did. I did. Well, yes. I mean, I really did. I liked that they were giving us a nice peek back into everybody's lives. I feel like there were some things that I didn't remember from season 1, even though I absolutely loved every second of it. So I felt like it was a great pace, and then I love how it ended with this climactic, event. So I thought it was perfectly paced and fun, and I just think the Jax and Brittany and Jesse and Michelle shit is enough to sustain any show in the universe. It's some of the wildest shit I've ever seen in my life, obviously.
Yeah, and it's like only just the beginning. It's just a little taste.
Yeah, and it has and then the clips of what's to come is also the craziest shit I've ever seen. So, we're on the precipice of I think what people are calling one of the most explosive seasons. Alex Baskin, I don't know if he's just touting it up, but he said it's one of the wildest seasons he's ever worked on in his career.
Insane. Yeah,
did you have oh, sorry, go ahead.
We're watching it in tandem, with old Vanderpump, and I'm like, the way that Kristen has been able to maintain this level of drama and just like personal sacrifice for this many years is astonishing.
It's so amazing to see Kristen fly. Like, it's the opposite of Icarus. If Icarus was able to fly, but the gods didn't get pissed off at him and they didn't want his wings to start burning. Kristen, there's a moment, and I'm going to step on it now because I have to say it just to really hone in that point. There's a part where Jesse goes, Kristen, you were right about everything you're of all time for your entire life, and Kristen's just sitting there getting to bask in the satisfaction of being told that she's been right about everything. I was like, what a triumphant moment for Kristen after last season. One of the huge the worst parts of the Valley season 1 was that Kristen was ostracized and almost kicked out and not allowed to be a part of it. So a triumphant return. Did you have, just before we talk about it, did you have friends like me who were kind of like little vultures that were trying to get you to spill secrets about the Valley to break the embargo?
Oh yeah, I watched this in a soundproof booth with a major lock on the door. They tried to come in like thief with a blowtorch and get in. They were like, what happened? Did Jesse threaten to take custody? Did Jax throw a coffee table? And I was like, you're going to have to wait until April 15th, bitch.
Yeah, that's what my friends were going, give me something. Give me anything. Give me anything to go off.
There's no world in which we drank 3 bottles of wine and watched it. I would never do that.
No, absolutely not. Megan was going, what are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? I was like, no, please, there's an embargo here. He's screaming. No, and I was just like, I'm sorry. I am a vault for Bravo. But now, like you just said, what's his name? The person in Thief, his name is
Jimmy Kahn.
Jimmy Kahn. He, just like that, let's let's do a full-blown blowtorch thief and let's release the vault on this thing. Let's start spoiling the shit out of the Valley. Season 2, episode 1. It is called Separation Anxiety. When I loaded this up, I think it gives me the thrill of Vanderpump Rules, and that's what feels so good. And I think it hit me like a ton of bricks, like the biggest ton of bricks in the world, knowing the future of what Vanderpump Rules is, that we no longer have that. But then we do have this oasis in the Vanderpump Rules universe that we can now pin our hopes to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It, opens up hot and gives us a...
hot as hell.
Yeah, oh my God. You know how the Valley is. It's like piling on about Jax's problems. Kristen's like, you can't even be alone with Cruz. How is this not your rock bottom?
Yeah.
I think this is when Brittany's like, we're doing restraining order, full custody. Like, you gotta go get help. It shows the video of him crying, that's saying he cannot be helped. He's like, I need help. Someone help me. I cannot be helped. And then it's like 7 days earlier. So we know we're only 1 week from the like apex of the divorce or like addiction drama.
7 days. First of all, that's the amount of days in the ring that they had to learn.
7 days.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, the sort of the loaded meaning of 7 days. But also I am so used to, on Bravo, most shows are like 29 days later, 6 weeks later, and we know that that's going to be the finale of this season, the most explosive shit in the world. This was 7 days. Jax is 1 week away from going to that treatment facility where Jason and Jesse and whoever come over and say, Jax, what the hell is going on with you? You need help immediately.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think I was trying to, help. I was trying to think of, Jax is, this is the worst that Jax will ever be. I think that's definitive, right? I mean, this is it. This is the lowest that Jax has ever been. What we learn is horrible. Actually, I'll save my recommendation for what Jax can do to completely redeem himself. I'll save that to the end.
Okay. Things are also in a rough patch. It shows Jesse like making a PB&J for his daughter or whatever, and he's like, co-parenting is not going well, and his daughter's like walking like on the ceiling or something, like she's just doing whatever she wants, and she's like a full Matilda.
Yeah, she was throwing pillows around. It was yellow eyeshadow day. He goes, are you sure you don't want to do, it's pink eyeshadow day? And she goes, no, I want yellow. She's having the time of her life. Just Jesse saying co-parenting is not going well. I don't know why, but I was just like, oh my God. Like, this is, we're in for such a season. Just knowing Jesse and Michelle's relationship, they already detested each other.
Yeah.
Michelle loathed
Jesse
like nothing I've ever seen from a married couple in my life. The fact that now he's just like, co-parenting is not going well. I was like, oh my God, it must be so bad for him to declare it that.
Seriously. I know there's so much stuff. They have a full back and forth that we'll get into later that I'm like, they need that judge app that Drew Sidor is on, because they should not be talking like this out in the streets.
No, by the time they were talking in public and making those declarations, I definitely was hoping for, the judge, mediator to be.
App.
Yeah. And then Michelle, once she puts yellow eyeshadow on, you immediately have this small moment where Michelle goes, you're not supposed to be wearing eyeshadow. Why did Daddy let you do that? That's just a little hint at the future of all of the different sort of outlooks they have on parenting that they're going to be clashing about.
Yes.
Oh, I loved this. Janet and Jason, this was so fun to me. Their house, they have now a 7-month-old baby, Cameron. What did you think about that?
They reminded us she was pregnant the whole time we saw her last time, and now she popped that sucker out, and she's sucking snot out of the baby's nose with one of those baby snot suckers, and she goes, but one time, which I'm like, I don't even believe you. She said she didn't put the little filter in, and so she like drank his snot. And I'm like, how does one do that?
Ooh, I think you could. I think you could.
Do you have one of those?
No.
Baby Frida?
No, and please don't shame me when you listen and you say, why doesn't Riley have a Snot Sucker 2000? I use this little thing called it's called a little bear plucker or something. It's like a little bear. People will know. Parents will be like, oh my God, that's the best thing. And then a little called a booger balloon that you squeeze, and then but we don't have but can I just say this is I won't talk too much about this, but I went to visit my sister, and I hope she's not going to be upset, but she has a full-blown snot sucker. So
I wonder if she's ever gone filter-free.
Did you see these toys that Cameron had?
Hella toys.
Oh my God, they were so cool. There was this one that it was carrots coming out of a little box. There was one that had a bunch of spindly little shit. And Cameron this is taking on a new meaning now also, because I'm loving all this shit, because Penny is also 7 months old. So now I get to directly compare my parenting to Jason and Janet's. I thought that was so fun.
Penny's head came out round, though. She doesn't need one of those little helmets like he does.
Unfortunately, no. And Jason says that he goes, we've got a wonderful boy here. Unfortunately, he's got a flat head. And Janet goes, that's what happens when you push out of your vagina for 5 hours a baby. So then that's why Cameron has that, I guess, a kind of a helmet.
5 hours a baby.
And so these are check-ins. We're just getting flashes of this cast. Kristen and Luke are up next. Luke, once they're trying, they want to have a baby. We know obviously that Kristen is pregnant. I mean, I think she's
when they said that, I was like, oh, if you would have asked me, I would have been like, she's pregnant on the show, at the very beginning. And I was like, oh, but yeah, they had to remind me that she's not pregnant yet.
Me too. I think that the Valley, it's filmed a little more in the past than it normally would be. I think we're almost a full year, whereas I don't know, maybe that's pretty consistent, but it does feel like, I was like, is Nia pregnant? It does feel like these things have already happened, but no, we're right before them. And also, Kristen says, Luke asks, have you talked to Janet at all? And Kristen goes, yeah, just when she called me crying, saying, I wish we could all be friends. But then Kristen declares officially that Janet is dead to her after Janet treated Kristen last season, after how she did.
We'll see about that. They also did a little humor where she talked about they're trying to do the healthiest thing to get pregnant, and she's like, everyone used to smoke cigs and drink while they were pregnant, and that was back when I was born, and look how I turned out. And they give her crickets.
Yeah, but it's so mean. I mean, she turned out wonderfully. I mean, despite how much smoking there was on planes.
I like little editor humor like that.
Yeah, me too.
We get a little Jasmine check-in. She says she's ready to get married, which I believe she's now engaged. We've seen since, so we have that to look forward to. And then we go over to Jax's house. He's blowing leaves, which I think he probably does for hours a day.
I think I remember some interview where he says, my neighbors are so fed up with me. I do this once or twice a day. And there were barely any leaves that he was blowing.
Enough. Jesse comes over. At this point, Brittany and Jax have been separated for 9 months. She's in that rental. They're technically allowed to date other people. He's saying, okay, first of all, I'll just say everything he says in this episode, I don't believe him. Every sentence he speaks, I'm like, we'll see about that.
I feel the exact same way. All of almost every detail. I know that you are trying to make this the most presentable version of what happened to Jesse. And so we kind of get the both stories back and forth, because Brittany is also in her rental house talking to Michelle, while Jax is talking to Jesse about the incident that caused the chaos, the current chaos that Jax and Brittany are in. So we should say what that is now.
Yeah. Well, he says first that they're currently, I guess, or before this incident, were messing around with the idea of her coming home, which I was like, I bet that's not true. And that this is the thing that we've heard about, that he saw on the iPad that she was messaging with that guy Julian. She says, I had sent a sexy video, and apparently then he freaked out and was like, you're cheating on me. He flipped the coffee table. She said the coffee table hit her leg. And Jax is like, I thought that she wanted to work on our marriage, and now she's hooking up with other guys. And he's sort of he's trying to make himself look good. He's like, I don't want Cruz to see how I treat his mother. And he goes, but in his, I think, confessional, he goes, show me a guy who wouldn't handle it like I did. And I'm like, okay, flop, immediate flop.
Yeah, probably 99% of people. So yeah, I mean, the real thing is the thing that caused this is that Brittany is scared of Jax now, which who wouldn't be? He flipped a coffee table and it hit her knee. She said it turned black immediately, like it was instantly bruised. And as she tells this story, I mean, it's like everyone in the world who listens to that would just be like, oh my God, this is fucking horrible. Michelle goes, that can never happen again. You can never allow Cruz to be in this situation again. It just takes one incident of Jax flying off the handle for it to completely ruin your life potentially. And Brittany is acknowledging that. And then Jax on his end, he keeps trying to talk about the details that led to him doing it, and that's why he says we were almost kissing that night. She was so close to getting back in the house. And then the best friend of my life, Julian, who I love, this person who's been my rock for years.
That's why the only clip they have of him is like a Sasquatch video where they have to like zoom in the background.
I noted that completely. There's not one moment of footage they could find where Jax was even, which I really do want to find out, because Jason later does say Julian and Jax were very close. So that
he
is
said
going
for
to
about 1 year.
Well, I just want to know. No. I totally do. I think that Jax is overinflating and over-exaggerating that relationship to make it seem like Brittany did the worst thing in the world. But I do want to know. There's a huge disparity between what Jax said and what Brittany said. Brittany on the podcast said that they barely know each other. She didn't know him at all. I assume I'm leaning towards Brittany, but when Jason got in there with his view of things, I was just like, I want to know. I want to know actually, like, how close is it? But it doesn't absolve anything that Jax did. It's not a rationale at all. I just want to know the true facts. But yeah, Jax is in the moment. Jesse is giving good advice. He says, you have no way to calibrate your rage. It's not properly calibrated in any way. And he says, you need to be a model for Cruz. You need to just be thinking about Cruz every second of every day, so that he would never emulate this horrible behavior and start to treat women how you treat women, which is, I mean, it's like the most true statement in the world. And also Jax tried to say, we already talked about this, but he goes, thank God Cruz was in the bedroom. He didn't see any of it. It's like, well, what the fuck did he hear? Screaming, crashing, furniture breaking. Like, you're cheating on me. Jack's screaming, you're cheating on me at the top of his lungs. Yeah. Like that. No, it's just, it's
not good.
No.
And then, but yeah, the conversation with the girls, Michelle's basically implying like the darkest thing you could imagine, where she's like, it only takes 1 second. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like the like imagination that you have to, come up with of what she means. You're like, Jesus Christ, this is like the darkest convo imaginable. And then they're talking about how Jax and Jesse party too much. Michelle says Jesse is having a midlife crisis. This is where Jesse talks about his new girlfriend, which he describes as one of the strongest women personalities he's ever met.
Yeah. Wow.
I love my woman personality.
Oh my God. Yeah. It immediately calls to mind some of the most famous women personalities. He also says,
B. Anthony.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course. Oh yeah. Don't even get me started. And then he says she's a magnificent diffuser. And he says, which, diffusing like shit. Basically, like she's like, she knows how to handle me much better than Michelle. He goes, she holds a mirror up to my face so that I see the true me, and he goes, there's nothing like getting a mirror to your face like that. And he goes, Michelle never held a mirror to my face ever. She just let me do whatever the hell I wanted and then complained about it later. I was like, I think I remember that she was not happy and was trying to call into question a lot of your actions, especially last season.
Yeah. I mean, by the time we met them, it was like so beyond over that, it was just done. She says that her new boyfriend Aaron brightens her heart, and she never had that with Jesse. So they're both like, fuck my ex, like my new partner is amazing. They're both on cloud 9.
I know. I am still holding out hope though that they could get back together and resolve this thing.
That makes me ill.
Yeah. She said that she kind of, I know this is going to come up, but I'm not suggesting anything, but Michelle does say, like, Aaron and I used to be casual friends. We would go on hikes. we would go see each other at that acai smoothie shop that's by Something About Her that you and I saw Michelle at. She was like, but I think that Jesse is going to call into question how much romantic sparks there were. I'm not saying there were, but I think it's going to come up that they're going to question the timeline of if they ever started dating. And, before this, after they were divorced.
He says later, like, if I find out that he's the one that broke up my marriage, it's not going to be good. And I'm like, your marriage was dead as a doornail. Like, honestly, it's like kind of giving like Lil, except, I mean, it's more toxic, but I'm like, it's like, get over it. Like, you both have new partners. You guys were definitely going to get divorced no matter what. Like, why are you trying to dig into the timeline now?
I agree. If I remember correctly, I feel like Jesse was still in it. Like, despite his horrific behavior and how he treated her, I feel like he was not ready to move on until Michelle had to be the one to pull the Band-Aid off and be like, she had checked out like 3 years ago and he was still trying. But I agree with you. That marriage on its face as an audience watching it was like, this is the worst couple I've ever seen in my life. If she started to step out and was starting to flirt with Quentin Tarantino at Chateau Marmont, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It was a miserable existence you both had together.
Yeah, she had to talk to Quentin Tarantino about his favorite like blaxploitation movies for 4 hours and was just like, oh my God, cool.
And remember Jesse, did we already talk about this? Jesse would text, he'd go, can I please talk to Quentin with you? And Michelle would go, she would ignore his text, and then she would go, no, I'm having time with Quentin Tarantino right now. Like, we're having fun down by the pool. You've been, and he wanted to go so bad. He goes, I would have a lot of stuff to talk about with Quentin. She goes, what would you talk about with Quentin Tarantino? He goes, movies, probably. Have you been to Chateau Marmont?
Yeah.
Okay, I've only been once. Me and my friend got a couple of Coronas in that beautiful. Was
it like $85 for two?
It was the cheapest thing we could get on the menu and still pretend like we were participating in, the culture there. But I think it was probably $30 for two of them. But it was really nice.
I'm just like, I keep thinking watching this between their daughter and Cruz. I'm like, these kids are so young. I know you always say like they would never turn back time because they created their little creatures, but I'm like, you guys really didn't have to procreate with these people. You could have just skipped it and done it better with someone else.
I always say the opposite. I mean, you could play that theory with me right now. I mean, like, I don't want to get too personal, but you know what I mean? I would obviously never, even despite when I locked Megan out so I could watch The Valley without spoiling my embargo, and we fought for 6 days after that, I would never, ever go back in time. You know what I mean? And I'm sure almost every parent in the world feels that way. I mean, I don't know. I don't speak for all of them.
Yeah,
but.
I'm just like, Brittany has to know Jax until her dying breath, and that sucks.
Well, okay, yeah, but Isabella, is that her name? She seems so cool. Like they both, you know what I mean?
They could have rolled the dice and had, I always say, Isabella 2.0 probably would have rocked just as much.
Let's put this to the Little Turtle Cuties. We've had this debate maybe 6 or 7 times. Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs. Hashtag turn back time, no kid. Turn back time, different kid. Or hashtag keep the kid. Keep the kid. And I hope
it's like Mickey 17. Like you wait and do it again, and he's a demon. Like
I never saw that.
There's like a bad Mickey who's like evil.
Seriously, no movie could look less up my alley than that movie.
That's what I said, and I was right.
Oh my God. Trailers are true. I mean, like, I can tell by a trailer if I'm going to like a film. Okay, next up, we are at, I loved this, a plant shop in the Valley.
This is pathetic, frankly. I was like, we can't be doing scenes like this already.
Oh, well, okay, yes. But they had to have this conversation somewhere, and I loved this sign outside of this place. It said, I like big plants, and I cannot lie. An obvious nod to the Sir Mix-a-Lot song, Baby Got Back. Did you like that?
Fantastic.
Yep. They go in this beautiful plant shop. The plant owner, he compliments Brittany's accent. He says, where the hell are you from with that accent that you have? And she goes, Kentucky. And he goes, well, giddy up, let's go. And I don't know if that, I don't know if everyone with an accent likes that. If you say giddy up, follow me.
She seemed charmed. She also says while they're sitting down that Jax is blowing up her phone, which I think I don't know. I think she wouldn't mind us sharing that she said something similar when you were at that press day with her the other day. It seems like something he does quite often.
Yeah, she. Yeah, should I? Yeah, I don't have an embargo. Yeah, I'll say I won't get specific, but Brittany, unfortunately, was dealing with something very similar to just like this plant shop. So I think I can say that, and she's obviously very vocal about that happening. And she goes, he's calling me twice, and then he goes, how's Cruzy? And then he'll go dot dot dot. Not gonna answer my calls now. Could you imagine? Oh my god! Like what a nightmare. You're right. That Judge app. The more I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, it solves all problems. Like, where's Cruzy? And the judge goes, don't talk like that. You don't need to demand right now that you get signs of life from your son.
Every text gets a react that's a little gavel. Like on every text, it's like,
Your Honor, yeah, totally. The custom. You don't get me started on what the custom. What are those things called? Those thumbprints. It'd be like, I object. Gavel emoji. Stop right now. Your Honor. Your Honor.
It would be like all the different styles you can do where like the letters like jiggle or whatever, and it'd be like, I object.
Yeah, yes, totally. What's it called when he goes not motion dismiss, but what's it when you go lawyer, judge, I want to go up to the front. Judge, I want to go up to the front with you and have a sidebar, and he goes,
denied. Motion denied.
Motion denied? Yeah, well, that would obviously be one of the reacts. I would love to be a custody and divorce mediator on one of those apps.
Whoa, that sounds stressful to me, but have fun.
Tell
me the tea when you're done.
I get psychologically buzzed.
Titillated.
Not titillated. I'm not saying scandalized. I'm saying I really like analyzing and thinking about the solutions to these very complex problems in these divorces and I'm gonna say, well, no. I'll wait. But Janet says, she goes, I want the old Brittany that used to have fun. And this is true. All of a sudden this struck me hard. She goes, Brittany is so fun. She's been in the doldrums of despair for 9 months dealing with this Jax shit. She used to be the go-to person with me where we would go to Taco Bell at any hour and she would order a cheesy gordita crunch and the brand new Cantina chicken toasted cheddar street chalupa. So that was sort of a sign for them of how far Brittany has gotten from the fun days of her and Janet just going to Taco Bell and having fun like that.
Yeah, I love her main takeaway of why Brittany is cool and a great friend is like she never turns down a trip to Taco Bell. I was like, fuck you. I'd be like, get away from me.
I also was.
You could say that about me as well, but
I know I was also questioning if that's like the one anecdote. But I mean, I'm someone who also gets a thrill. Megan and I went to Taco Bell twice 2 weeks ago, and so I'm also having fun. That's how I tried out that Cantina. Oh my god, I wish you probably would never try the Cantina chicken toasted cheddar street chalupa, but it will blow your mind.
Did I tell you guys I recently Wes Wilson posted about having gone to Taco Bell. He was in Canada though, and I slid into his DMs and was like, "What's the order, King?" And he told this is this okay? Exclusive. This is exclusive what he orders.
He would permit this, right?
I think so. Because I told him mine.
Okay, all right.
He because he asked me and I told him, and he said we're traveling a similar path. He gets 2 cheesy gordita crunches, which he called 2 cheesy G's, and a steak quesadilla with fire sauce.
Oh my god, that is one hell of an order.
Which, if you've been to Taco Bell lately, will be like $25. By the way, so expensive.
Yeah, ours was pretty up there when we went twice 2 weeks ago. Cheesy gordita crunch. I mean,
that's like scientifically perfect.
Could you? I was just gonna say, could you imagine when the scientist was in the lab and he goes, "I'm gonna put the final layer of cheese between this soft piece of taco and the hard piece of taco," and they ate that first bite. They must have just been like, "Oh my god, what the fuck did you just do?"
Bread. Did I tell you I've been to the lab, the Taco Bell lab?
No way.
In Irvine.
No way. How was it?
So fun.
Oh my god, I'm imagining total. I hate to use this reference, but Charlie getting the golden ticket and getting to go in and see these people just laughing their asses off at all of the fun shit that they're.
It was like 2012, so I got to preview the like Dorito Locos taco when they first invented it.
Wow, is that still on the menu?
I want to say it is. Maybe it comes and goes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I want to go to that. Okay, so I have to say this segment was sponsored by Taco Bell, which we have to obviously say that. But I want to go to that Malibu Taco Bell. Do you know the one I'm talking about? That's like on the edge of the earth, and it's like Taco Bell Cantina, and it looks. Do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe it's in Santa
like
Cruz.
I think there's one up north, like more NorCal.
What? Oh, Megan just told me.
NorCal.
Near San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Malibu. I want to go to that.
I mean, if it was in Malibu, I would have gone already. But yeah, we'll go.
Jax. Okay, this is the pivotal moment. Brittany goes, I'm having a white party where everyone wears white, and we go to downtown LA on a rooftop, and I'm inviting the entire cast and all of my friends, but Jax is not invited. So Jax is doing the pettiest, lamest thing of all time, and he's trying to create a rival party where everyone goes to Jax's Studio City because he's so upset that he doesn't get to go to this party. And this is when Brittany goes, I forget how she sets it up, but she goes, he wants to make this about himself. He goes, you're 45. Grow up. You're 45. And I was like, oh my God, Brittany is so fucking pissed at Jax.
45.
Yeah, you're 45. And then Jax is still calling, and they go to the plant guy. They go, will you answer and be like, hey, I'm with Brittany right now. Call back again later, to try to like play a prank that Brittany might be having sex with that guy.
Oh my God, Janet, no.
Yeah, she loved that. Okay, we're ripping. Casita
and Zach.
Yep, Nia and Zach at Casita in Sherman Oaks or Studio City. I forget where that falls, but I've been there.
Okay, cool. Looked good. Their storyline stresses me out. They're debating whether or not to wait.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. No, Casita first. I know exactly the scene you're talking about.
Oh, I went ahead.
I know, because you were both champing at the bit to get to that.
Because I forgot who Danny is completely, so I was like, he's Zach.
No, so first, Zach and Nia are forming a new friendship. I'm not 100% sure how solid this new dynamic is. I'll just say I'm not 100% sure. But they are drinking. Well, no, actually, Nia says, I want the alcohol taken out of my drink. And Zach goes, I want the alcohol from her margarita put into mine. And then they order a bunch of tacos. And then they talk about, they download each other on what is going on between Brittany and Jax. And and Zach says, this is the worst I've ever seen him. His behavior is getting so much more aggressive, lately.
Yeah. Then they love to give Kristen a dramatic entrance. They show her marching up. And then she's saying how she obviously has known Jax through many relationships, and this is by far the worst shit he's ever done, more than any girlfriend in the past, which is saying something.
I agree, and I think I've said this before. I think I said this on the big Jax hour that we did. Like, I still, the idea of him breaking a bunch of shit, besides the time he threw his phone across the room and broke it, and Schwartz thought it was his, I was like, for some reason, I don't know why, but I just like could not picture him pulling TVs off the wall or flipping coffee tables. But it's like, well, I don't know fucking shit, because he did it, and he did the worst thing. He hurt Brittany in the process. And then they say, let's not talk about Jax anymore. Let's not give any energy to him. Let's talk about Janet stuff. And that's when Kristen lays a huge bomb, I thought. She said, someone told her secondhand that Janet is trying to get the waters moving in the right direction to have possibly a comeback for them, which I think that this is completely because Janet knows that her strategy of isolating Kristen last year completely flopped. Everyone was more on Kristen's side last season. Janet went all in, and then no one sympathized with her. She was kind of treated as the villain, and so she is trying to make small amends to appeal to Kristen because she knows that she made a really bad strategic move last season. That's my gauge on that. How do you feel about that?
I agree. This gabbing with Gib guy really got a huge win here, because they play the Gabbing with Gib podcast clip of Janet talking about how she didn't feel that that Kristen wanted her pregnancy to come to full term, which is insane.
That they were praying for her downfall. I remember when this came out, and like, I don't know what the hell we said, but it's the most evil thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
To put that on someone, on Kristen especially, and when we learned that it was just secondhand Zach and that Kristen never had anything to do with that, it's the worst thing in the world. And it makes complete sense now why Kristen says, I will never forgive Janet for the rest of my life. You said on a podcast that I was praying for you to miscarry your child.
It's so dark.
It's such a first season like flop decision of Janet to say something that you know is like salacious and then not be able to back it up with facts. I just feel like she felt so on the outs with the audience that she wanted to make it known that there was some real, true, deep reason for why she had such loathsome feelings for Kristen. And then it turns out that it wasn't true, you know, that there's no way to even pin that on Kristen.
Yeah. I have a question. Did they last year show, I feel like the answer is yes, but I can't remember. Did they use Vanderpump footage last season?
I think they did. Great question, because they don't use it now.
Yeah.
I think that they are trying to separate this show from Vanderpump Rules and not rely on the heavy hitting moments from Vanderpump Rules, because there were so many opportunities, like when they were talking about, I've seen Jax do shitty stuff.
Yeah.
He's cheated.
Yeah.
He's
I
done
was
this.
waiting. I was like, roll the bean footage.
I think they want Valley to stand on its own because they're for sure entitled. They have access to it. It's the same production company. It's Alex Baskin. It's Lisa. They have the archive, but I think that they are trying to make Valley stand on its own.
Interesting. Okay. And then they reminded us of they showed the feuds of last season, and I forgot about the Republican storyline, which really made me laugh.
Yeah. So it totally brought it back to mind. Janet and Zach and whoever, before the season started, were talking about Michelle possibly being a Republican. They might have implied that also that means that she is racist. So what Kristen did was repeat them probably... They probably said this. They probably were being overly mean. You know, they were probably, but also they said it for sure. And Kristen should never have, they didn't want Kristen to repeat it. She did. So she stands by that is exactly what they said. And it was Janet and Michelle who made Kristen the scapegoat for saying that salacious thing. They got mad at Kristen for even bringing it up on the show when they should have been mad at Janet for actually saying it. So that's what I remember from that.
Yeah, the Valley preempted that White Lotus storyline of the third woman potentially having voted for Trump.
What'd you think about that finale?
It was fine. I mean, I'm in the let him cook category where I'm just like, he kind of ruminates on the same stuff over and over again. If anything, I feel like it reached an audience that didn't need to watch it at that scale, where I'm just it's just like Mike White doing his thing, like whatever.
Yeah, but he kind of gave the audience Jax was on Twitter and he goes, "Who's gonna die this season?" And I was like, I know someone dies in White Lotus, but is that really what it's about? It's a murder mystery.
I mean, Teresa Giudice was watching it.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, Teresa Giudice, knowing who Mike White is, was not on my plan for life.
Yeah. I thought it was, no, me too. I thought it was pretty bad, a pretty bad end to make it like that, I don't know, dramatic at the end with like, all that shit.
Like, I kind of want to rewatch because I loved the first couple seasons and like especially the first season. I felt like the storylines were intertwined so much more elegantly. Yeah. You know, like the way that they touched each other was like way more interesting. And then it was kind of just like they were all just dropped there and didn't really make any sense for them to ever touch, which they didn't really.
Yeah. Rick, no, don't do that.
I love that girl though. Like I'm happy to watch her in God knows what else.
He's your... Can I spoil it?
I am your father.
He's your dad. He told me. He's your dad. And then also the... well, whatever. Let's not talk about it. I did like the Carrie Coon revelation at the table. I thought that was really
nice.
sweet.
Good acting.
That was probably my favorite scene of the whole thing. She was like, I'm just happy to be here. I had a miserable, horrible time with you all, but I'm just happy to be in the same life as you guys. I thought that was like a very powerful ode to what friends are. That was very sweet.
Yeah, and I feel like Patrick Schwarzenegger has a bright future. He was better than I expected.
Oh, he was killing it. They gave him the full great arc from villain to possibly sympathetic. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, and then Zach goes, huge revelation from Zach. He goes, Janet has an air tag on me. And anytime I go anywhere near Brittany, Janet will call Brittany and say, what the fuck are you doing with that guy who wished death upon my unborn child? I don't like that he did that. So you hanging out with him is bad. And Zach has since said that Brittany and him were ride or die. She's his person, but he goes, she's been isolating herself from me because Janet kind of got into her head. And then Zach gets indefensible, I thought, and he goes, I think they're lesbians. Maybe they're lesbians. Brittany is in her vagina, and he's building a little home in Janet's vagina. I was like, okay, I don't
coochie.
Yeah, I was like, just say the first part. It was yeah, a little bad.
I have to say though, like, his stinker energy I want more of. Like, whenever it gets to like Danny and Nia being like, should we have 700 kids in our condo? I'm like, next.
No.
When it's Zach being like a little demon, I'm like, okay, more of this. Like,
no, I like
him in.
I like that Damon. I like him as that for sure. No, absolutely. You need that in the universe. I'm just saying, if you're trying to make this emotionally resonant, you didn't need to add that like other little kind of improv. I didn't like the improv, but he's, oh my God, the most iconic thing in the world. I had to remember it again. Somebody else was talking about it. Was Zach doing the Big Bear in the dark?
That's my favorite thing of the whole show.
It's the most one of the most iconic. I mean, he would stand up against any iconic Vanderpump Rules moment. All black, Big Bear Valley. Makes Janet think that you were outside her cabin waiting for her to come outside.
She was
so
like
that you
going to call the
it
cops. She was so scared.
It was. I mean, what? Absolutely, a standout top 3 moment of that season.
So funny. And talk about like roll the footage. Like, he's been in the mix the whole time. He's like Brad ex Brad. Like, he's in the background of everything.
I was thinking about Logan. You know, the other Logan, not the James Logan.
Yes.
He's in the scene at the end, and I was just thinking, like, what is this is not mean, but I'm just like, what is Logan's life? Like, he is a permanent like extra in these universes. Like, he is at every single party they go to. Like, he's on every list. I mean, it's good. It's a testament to him being friends with everyone. But I was like, I think he's in the background of every single. They don't
feature him at all. Like, you really had to be eagle-eyed. I didn't notice him the first time I watched, but I noticed this time. I also just got a TikTok of it was a tour of the Girardi property, which is like, you know, they don't own it anymore. And it was like the grounds. And then I noticed, because someone in the comments was like, not Logan posting this. And I looked, and it was him who was posting it. And so I don't know what he was doing there.
He was just there.
His profile didn't say real estate. So I was like, I don't know. But maybe I think it might be an event space now. So maybe he was like going to have a party. I don't know.
We should go visit that property at night.
I know where it is.
Let's go. So no one's in there now, right?
Empty.
I want to go to that. I want to go to that.
In there.
I want to go to that. I want to go to that church room. They'd never find us. Could you imagine? Could you imagine getting in that room? We're
like those videos when people find that someone's been living in their attic for like 3 months, and it's just like the scariest person you've ever seen in your life.
Was that New York one real that I saw on early YouTube in 2007? Do you remember that? It was a New Yorker goes, I think someone is living up in my attic. I put a camera, and this is before you could even have like portable cameras, and he put one out, and then all of a sudden, at the middle of the night, someone crawled down from a thing that opened in their attic and went and drank their milk and ate their food, and then went back.
Ate their cookies.
I
don't remember that one, but I just saw one like this week where someone thought they had critters up there, so they put a camera up without looking and took a flash photo so that they could like see, and it was like literally Nosferatu.
Oh my God. I am so afraid now, because we have sort of a big space between our roof and our attic. I'm so afraid that there might be somebody crawling in there. Okay, Jesse's house.
Oh my
now
God, this is wild, a wild meetup.
This is so fun. This alliance I could have never imagined in my life. I'm not even going to spoil it. Jesse's at his house, and then all of a sudden, again, you see that walk up mystery person is coming up. I said, who could this be? Who could this be?
Yeah.
Knock on the door. It's Kristen having a private conversation meeting with Jesse, a duo I never thought I would see in my life. It's perfect.
I know. And one thing she's going to always do is bring a bottle of white wine. This is where Jesse says there will be a problem if he finds out that there was like a dirty timeline with Michelle and her current boyfriend. But he fully apologizes to Kristen for his actions.
He says that I knew those things of which you were speaking last season, and I didn't want to process them and feel them, and so I took out my resentment on you for the fact that I didn't want to be even thinking about those kind of things, and so I fully apologize to you. And Kristen loves a full-throated apology. I learned that this season. She goes, I am so happy that Jesse did this. More people should be like Jesse. Just take full accountability. She's definitely taken shots at Janet, who does the exact opposite with her apology later. But yeah, I love this. And also, we learned that Luke is going to start bulking up with Jesse to try to get buff as hell. Like Jesse is. Did you hear that part?
Yeah, they're going to hit the gym. But yeah, Jesse says here, like, I don't care if you're over your marriage or have moved on. It's always going to be weird to see your partner or like ex with someone new. So that's about to happen in the finale or like the end of the episode party.
Yeah, and he goes, divorce is tough. Now we'll have to see who will be Team Michelle or who will be Team Jesse. And Kristen goes, oh my God, I have to pick one. Team Jesse. Who would have thunk? And I was like, oh my God, the fact that she's Team Jesse is wild. Like, her relationship with Michelle must be pure shit.
Yeah, seriously. Because they had the entire feud last season. I mean, it was all of them, but like definitely her versus Jesse.
They showed Jesse all the times he was hitting the table because he was so pissed at Kristen. You remember?
Yeah. I mean, this show really has the advantage of the first season caught a divorce and the second season caught the Jax shit in perfect time, you know?
Yeah, I don't wanna discount what we have here. This is perfect. Lightning in a bottle. I love everything that's going on in the Valley. But I did think to myself, Sheena and Brock are waiting there in the wings. They're champing at the metaphorical bit. They're going to the same school as Cruz. Summer is. Yeah. They're so actually intertwined with this group in a real way. Janet and Sheena, I think, are like best friends. Like, it wouldn't hurt the Valley to have, just like how they are popping in with all of these different couples, to have Sheena, Brock, and Summer in there. I don't want them to take the spotlight from anyone else. I want all these cast members to shine, but I don't think it would be a detriment in any way. I actually think it would be the most organic integration to have Sheena, Brock, and Summer come into this universe if they wanted to for season 3.
Well, maybe this is, their test ground, because we know she makes appearances, so maybe they'll just see.
She just said on Sheena's podcast, the wonderful, wonderful Sheena podcast, she said that she had the choice of either going to the Valley season 1 or continuing on for Vanderpump Rules season 10. And she said, why the hell would I ever go? Well, she didn't say this. She was nice about it. But she was like, I'm obviously going to go to the established popular show versus this one thing that could be a random one-off. So she says that she turned down the initial to be a part of the initial cast of the Valley.
She didn't invest in, like Amazon.com when it just sold books.
Oh, totally. Okay, Danny and Nia, I don't know how much you want to get into it.
No, it's just he still wants to move to Santa Clarita because they want to have like 400 kids. She's like, please, I want to get pregnant any second. I understand her logic. She's claiming, she says that she feels that pregnancy ruined her body and she'd rather just pop out one more and then get surgery or work out or do whatever she wants to do to get back in shape, so that it doesn't get ruined again in like 5 years if she waits. So that's her logic, which I get, but I think they should just stop. They have all kinds of kids. They are good.
They show clips. I mean, they want that that sought after under four.
Under four. She said he said that one baby tried to flush the other baby down the toilet.
I know. I said
it's giving the Baldwins.
It's totally. Oh my God! It's like it was giving it a swirly to one of the other babies, which I can't believe. If you want four, I get the rationale, but then I also agree with Danny. He goes, "We've got kids that are hanging. One's in the toilet, one's on the chandelier, one's playing the piano. We have to have some sort of space for this."
He's like the entertainer.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, they did. They showed it. They go. Okay, I'm putting my baby down for a nap, and then all of a sudden he turned around for 1 second. One baby was crawling up over the crib, and the other baby had found the piano and was playing the piano. I get. I think. I get it. I see both sides, but obviously you want the space to have all of those kids, and it looks like they're bursting at the seams already with 3 under 2. I hope that's not too horrible to say.
No. Okay, so then everyone gets together before the white party. It's like Janet and her husband Nia and Danny, and this is where Jason, I almost forgot his name. He's one
the
of
wonderful
keep my finger on.
One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I was so happy to see Jason and Janet's beautiful house. I like this moment. Janet says, "We're eating off the china from my first wedding. I took all of it from," and everybody has to remember, they're like, "Oh my God, Janet was married before and then divorced, and Jason is the second husband." And then she goes, "Jax has been texting everyone in the boys chat saying that everyone is going to Jax's Studio City." And they go, "The boys chat is fucking disgusting." They go, "I looked at it once and it was the grossest shit I've ever seen." They show one of the cast members and they start to dry heave when they think about what was in this boys chat. I wrote some options of what I think it is. That the video of Peter from Family Guy fighting that chicken. Ed Helms from Hangover with the missing tooth.
Uh-huh.
And then the latest cover of Playboy magazine.
That's some scary shit.
What do you think is in there? What do you think was so disgusting and filthy that it caused Michelle to start barfing in her confessional when she was talking about it?
Maybe it was a video of a baby using a neti pot and all the snot comes out. And that's what they could do instead of the snot sucker. Oh my God.
Oh wow. I was thinking on the completely different end of like, I don't know why I was thinking like sexual stuff or humorous memes.
Well, that's my question. I'm like, okay, so the guys chat, it's Jason, Danny, Jax, and Jesse. Would that be all of them?
The boys. Wait, Schwartz?
Do you think he's on there?
Schwartz definitely gets a pop in. And Luke. I bet Luke's in there.
Who is that? I need to reintegrate with these people. It's taking me too long to remember.
All right. Well, I'll say it for you. I think boys chat. It's filthy, disgusting. I think it's Jesse, Danny, Jason, Luke got to pop in, Schwartz, and
maybe Bert, because in the next scene when we go to Jax's, guess who's there?
Bert.
Schwartz and his bro.
It is so cool. Okay, this part is really funny to me. I think that Jax. Okay, so they go to Jax's Studio City. I think Jax lied to Schwartz and said the cast is coming here. This is one of our first scenes for the premiere, so get here. You're going to love it. And that's why Schwartz's energy feels really off. He's not being fun at all. At one point he goes, "When is everybody else coming?" And then Jax goes, "Sorry, no. Everybody's in traffic, but let me introduce you to my squad. It's Mikey, Turbo, Chucky, and your brother Bert."
This Mikey, like, greaser guy, Jimmy was like, is he in Shauna Na? Like, what the fuck? Who is that?
Well, so Jimmy watched it just this morning. So Jimmy watched it. Oh, he watched it last night with you, obviously. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, Mickey, I go, who are these guys? I want to know more about this new squad. Mickey, Turbo, Chucky, and then how did Bert immediately get into this group? But you could tell that Schwartz, I know Schwartz pretty well after watching him for 11 years in Vanderpump Rules. I could tell that he was nervous to have this scene with Jax because he had just had that heart-to-heart with Brittany about what Jax did. And he's like, I'm another attachment to the most toxic person in the world, and I have to be your sounding board for how to get you through this? This is even worse than what Sandoval did.
I know. His life is miserable. At one point, when they go to sit down, they have to leave Bert behind because he can't be part of the conversation, and Bert looks directly into the camera for like a split second.
I know. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I don't even want to say it, but the writing is on the wall. It says Bert and Jax. He gives him a huge hug. He goes, Bert, I am so happy to see you. I mean, it's perfect. I cannot believe that we are teeing up season 3 to have Sheena, Brock, Summer, and then Bert added to the Valley season 3. That's a dynamic cast. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you notice that when Jax got shots from the bar, he says, I need one for Tommy. So he calls Schwartz Tommy too.
I didn't even think about that. I've never heard Schwartz be called Tommy. So he goes, let's get Tommy one. He didn't get one for any of those other guys that were there. Okay, white party time.
Yes. Okay. It's like, does it go back and forth to Jax's? Or...
Okay. Yeah, we get a huge part of the white party, and then we have the pivotal scene with Jackson Schwartz. So we'll mosey on over to that white party. I gotta know this. You wish you were there, right?
Looked fun.
I think so too. Janet goes, hey, I have a big deal with Kristen going on. I miss her, she says. And I want to have fun with her again. We used to have so much fun, and I want to try to start over in a new friendship. That's what she's been saying to everybody who will listen. So we've already heard Kristen's side of this, and now we've heard of Janet. It sounds like Janet wants to come hat in hand and say, full mea culpa, I fucked up, and I miss my friendship with Kristen. I strategically messed up majorly. That's what I thought we were going into, but that's not what we get eventually.
Yes. Michelle says she's trying to avoid Jesse at all costs, but of course she will interact with him shortly. And this is where Brittany confirms again that Jax is not invited, and that if he shows up, she'll throw his ass in the pool.
I thought that was such a sweet moment. I thought that was so funny. The imagery of Brittany with all of her might pushing Jax into the pool and him having to splash around there in front of everyone. I thought that was...
She knows he's scared of swimming.
Totally. Oh my God. And also I liked when Jesse walks in and they give him the cricket edit where it's like they played like crickets, like no one cares about him. And then Michelle says to Aaron, she goes, I thought he was going to wear a suit. And I thought to myself, why did she think that? And why did she say that? What did that mean?
I know. I was like, maybe, it's weird.
Did she want Aaron to look different than him? And so Aaron looked like cool. And she thought that he would wear a suit and look not cool. I just didn't understand what she was thinking about that.
Yeah, it was weird. I feel like she's still, when you're like married for so long and you usually have input in what someone wears every time you go somewhere, she's like still probably like has an opinion, you know? So
I think he kind of blew her mind. I'm just going to give Jesse credit for a second before we talk about bad things he does. I think she was stunned by what he walked up wearing.
Wow, stunning. Okay, should we go back to Jax's? Is that...
Yes, please. So he gets the shots for Tommy. Bert has to stay at the bar.
Yeah, I'm like, do you think they were just like, all right, we have to film this scene, please stay put. And Jax asks how Tom is doing. Schwartz is like, it's doing.
Yeah, he goes, we just got mozzarella sticks at Tom Tom, but I have to say, I think that this was filmed before Schwartz and Sandy shut down. So when Jack says, how's the bar doing? At that time, he must have meant Schwartz and Sandy's, but they had to retroactively make it about Tom Tom. Because since when in the last 3 years has Schwartz talked about Tom Tom? It's all been about Schwartz and Sandy's. So I think that they had to like make that conversation about Tom Tom because it wouldn't make sense anymore. This is when Schwartz says, I'm worried about you, Jax. I've never seen you like this. Brittany pulled me aside and told me everything about what you did and what you've been through, and that she doesn't feel comfortable being in the same room as you anymore. And I think Schwartz has never, I maybe possibly I could find some moments, but I don't think he's ever like felt the weight of the responsibility of what he had to say to someone more than he does telling this about Jax. There's absolutely no like he's being completely unequivocal that this is awful of Jax, and he can't even put that Schwartz spin on like that there's a positive, anything positive about this. It's just full like, I need to talk to you right now and tell you that you need help. You know what I mean? Like, he's so disappointed.
He's like, I've already weathered Scandival. I cannot even entertain giving you any benefit of the doubt. Like, I have to be a hard ass for once. And also, this is worse, obviously. He's like, Brittany literally doesn't feel okay being alone with you. Jax is like, there's another guy that has infiltrated my marriage. And I'm like, you guys are literally separated. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And agreed to it completely. And the fact that you have some sort of relationship with this person doesn't discount that you are off limits to each other, and you are both allowed to do anything you want with other people. Jax keeps having to reinforce that there's some rationale for what he did, and that's when Schwartz gives him good advice. He goes, imagine seeing naked photos of Julian on an iPad. And Schwartz goes, it doesn't matter. Your feelings are valid, but your reaction is not valid, which is like a very great way to put it, you know?
Yeah. And then he dares to say that Brittany flies off the handle as well, as if any of us give a shit about that. And Schwartz is like, you're headed towards rock bottom. You need counseling, therapy, whatever. Like, you got to figure this out. And then Jax says that he's Cruz's hero. I'm going off the rails. I'm 5 years old. What's wrong with me? Which, again, we've been hearing since he was 35. It's the same shit.
I'm going to say it now. Okay, so I think Jax needs to do the ayahuasca trip that Jesse did last season.
Yeah.
I really think that something clicked in Jesse. He's still, a very mean-spirited person who does intentionally mean things.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second.
But I'll say Shep, definitely, when he did ayahuasca, I felt a completely new Shep on the Southern Charm. This new Southern Charm era. I think at the very least, I don't think it will fix all of his problems, but Jax has this ego, hurt, I don't know, wounded animal syndrome, ego, where he says, I'm Jax Taylor, I can do whatever the fuck I want. In addition to not drinking and not doing cocaine and doing therapy, he needs to work on that personality defect that makes him extreme narcissist and extremely filled with ego and pride. He needs to have ego death is what I hear that they call it. And I'm not saying that's the one solution, but in addition to those 5 or 6 things, I want to see what he's like post ayahuasca.
I almost feel like I've never done ayahuasca, but I feel like there's a certain level of like introspection that needs to happen based on what you saw. And I fear that Jax doesn't have the intellectual capacity to like view whatever symbols are shown to him and figure out the true meaning.
I don't know. Your brain constructs them, so I think it would be in visual language that you know. I picture it like
I saw like a muscle man and realized that like I'm perfect the way I am.
Yeah. It might be that. I was picturing that, the last, like in Harry Potter, the last Harry Potter, when Harry dies and he goes into this train station. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. He dies. Major Harry Potter. But then he sees Voldemort, and Voldemort is this little baby that's going like this, and he's all like messed up. I think that's what Jax would see on ayahuasca, is that sort of like, do you know that scene that I'm talking about?
Sounds familiar.
Okay.
I've probably only seen that movie once, but...
Oh, you got to watch that scene. Everybody who knows Harry Potter, let me know if you think that Jax's ayahuasca trip would be like that scene in Harry Potter where he sees that sort of baby Voldemort, and then you get that sympathy for Voldemort a little bit.
Okay, well, speaking of Jesse being a piece of shit, for some reason, him and Michelle decide to talk about very sensitive information at the rooftop party. They shouldn't even be talking at all. They start out by talking about, like, her school photos, and then Michelle's boyfriend sort of, like, gets involved, and then it starts to talk about, like, Michelle's like, you spoil her too much. You buy her too much. She doesn't know the value of $1 or whatever. And he goes, I try and show her. And she's like, no, you don't. And then the boyfriend starts to chime in. And I'm like, well, you don't need to talk about this at all.
I felt the same way. I didn't know if that was a controversial thought. He goes, you get her everything she wants. And I was just like, damn, like, how long have you been in the picture? And are you supposed to add your input to so that the parenting styles adapt to what you think on that end? I was aghast. And I think because I picture myself in that scenario, possibly, like, I'm not saying that would ever happen, but I was just like, you don't need extra input at this time. This is for me and Michelle to solve. If I want to spoil her rotten, but then I'm like, okay, well, what does the stepdad /
He's not a stepdad.
No, I know.
Hasn't been dating him, and that would piss off anyone. Even a step parent should probably like chill.
That's honestly why I love this show so far. Like, we are seeing dynamics that I've never seen before. Like, I don't think that we've ever delved this deeply into a contentious divorce. I mean, we have actually on Atlanta, obviously Ralph and Drew are going through the worst, but seeing it still, it's like very fresh to hear how people talk at this stage to each other when it's so high stakes, how you navigate this shit.
It's not usually two cast members, because Housewives, it's
right.
usually like the woman's point of view.
Yeah, you mainly see only one side. I think that's it too. We're seeing both sides of this thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, they're both kind of rotten, but Jesse, in this case, way worse, which we get to we're going to go to Janet and Kristen, and then we'll go back to Michelle and Jesse. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They have a one-on-one that really gets them nowhere.
Well, here's why. I think I can summarize it so we don't have to go in detail. Janet does not want to admit and give a full apology for what Kristen thinks is the worst thing that a human has ever done to her, which is tell the world that she wished the death upon Janet's child. So Janet is already starting from a place where it would take a lot to push that rock back up the hill like Sisyphus to get them in a good place. Janet doesn't want to fully admit culpability for that. She wants to say your alignment with Zach makes me put you two in the same basket, and that's why I said it. And Kristen said, I love Zach, and I will never break up my relationship with Zach because of one misstatement or mistake he made. So if that's your sticking point, I don't know what we're doing here. And then I think that a part of Janet, she also has ego here. She doesn't want to completely lose / fold in a scene, a one-to-one scene. So I feel like she's holding back and trying to get Kristen to at least meet her some of the way. But Kristen has all of the chips in this scene because Kristen has a real reason for why she would never trust Janet again. What Janet did is abhorrent. And also, Janet is not giving a good apology. So she gets to stick to her guns here, and Janet does not get what she wants. For Janet and Kristen to move on, Janet will have to give just a full apology and not bring Zach into it at all. And she failed to do that because of, I think, some ego on her part.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so should we just go to the divorce drama of the century?
Yes.
So, yeah, again, I don't know why they thought they should broach this subject here. I mean, he is a demon for real, but they're talking about how they're looking at, I think it starts by her saying she has someone that can help them look at schools who works with like the best and brightest millionaires and billionaires.
Some of the best, she says some of the best millionaires you've ever heard of. Meet with this person for school. And Jesse goes, He goes, that's pretty interesting, meeting with someone about schools without informing me. And then that sets them off. He goes, he's like being total, like you said, total stinker here. He goes, I would like to look at schools everywhere. You know, Orange County, Newport, Dana Point. I want to look at all of them. Because I could live in Orange County someday. And Michelle goes, well, obviously that's never going to happen. I live in Los Angeles and your daughter lives in Los Angeles. And then later, I had to think about this, but later when Nia says, what the fuck was he talking about? No one is ever going to let a child go to school when the mother lives in Los Angeles, that they would go 5 days a week to a school in Orange County. It's like, it's not going to happen.
An hour and a half away.
It was just Jesse being, which he admits, being trying to be mean-spirited, to hurt her in the scene. But at first I was like, could he do this? Is this even part of the conversation? But no, it doesn't make any logistical sense at all.
Yeah. So yeah, his girlfriend lives down there, so he's down there all the time. He's like, I fucking love it down there. When she starts to get upset for, obvious reasons, he goes, you're getting very aggressive.
Yeah.
And she says in the confessional that when she left him, he said he'd do anything to ruin her life.
Mm-hmm. She also said, she goes, this was an insightful look into Jesse's psychology. She said, it hurts me a bit, or it hurts him a bit that she moved on. And she goes, and when Jesse's feelings are hurt, all he wants is to get revenge. And I was like, oh my God, like what a peek into psychology that is. Like that you just want to hurt someone back immediately if you get hurt.
Yeah. She says, if you want to go to the OC, I'll take our daughter full time. It's like the dirtiest conversation you've ever heard. And in his confessional, he goes, yeah, I just said this stuff to get a rise out of her. Let the chaos begin, which is how the episode ends.
Yeah, total. I mean, you could imagine the Joker or the Riddler, any villain in history almost would say something like, let the chaos begin. So admitting that you are purposefully trying to make her upset is shocking. And it's shocking to hear someone say it and mean it. That's why I think I said this a lot, but Jesse is like a new type, archetype that I've never seen before in reality television. I've never seen someone operate that. He's almost, next after Jax in terms of a psychological study that I've never seen anyone else be like in history. So that's it. And then Kristen says finally, after he says, I want to reap chaos upon the world, Kristen goes, I thought last summer was bad, but this summer was even worse. And then they show a bunch of haunting clips, and they show specifically that I think a bunch of people go over to Jax's house and they go, you are rock bottom, my boy. Get your ass to a mental health facility immediately. And so we're going to see that, I think, next week.
Yeah, I know. Wild shit. But fun. And I hope that it stays juicy. Like, I hope it wasn't... I think it will, because everything happened in literal perfect time, that the aftermath of it should last the entire season. Like, I don't see how it could run out of steam.
I don't think so either. We've got I'm excited for Kristen and her boyfriend Luke to get engaged. I'm excited for the revelation of Jesse whispering like worm tongue into Luke's ear, saying, guess what? Michelle has sex with billionaires for $1,500.
Oh, yeah.
And then they show her throwing a glass from across the room. I've never seen the way that thing is framed. They show Michelle hitting him with a bunch of water from across the room. And then we got all the Jax and Brittany shit, I know. So it's I don't think it's going to lose steam. I think it's going to keep rocking and rolling. I want to say I hope Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, you enjoyed this premiere of The Valley as much as Amy and I did. I think you will. I think it's a great start to a season. So Amy and I are going to I think, Amy, do you mind? I'm filled to the brim with piss. Do you mind if I take a certified turtle piss break?
Please, and we'll talk about Summer House when we're back.
That sounds amazing. Well, I love talking about The Valley with you. We'll be back in just a second.
Okay.
Wow, what a timely conversation that you and I just had about The Valley. I can't believe that we were able to perfectly keep in context the public perception that is available now to us, while also factoring in the after show that we watched.
We kill it every time. Did you like the title for this week's Summer House, Flirting with Disaster?
Absolutely, I did. I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes, I love that film, Flirting with Disaster. Have you ever seen that? An early David O. Russell film. I used to love it so much, but unfortunately I can barely watch it now, because I just imagine David O. Russell screaming his ass off at Alan Alda and Ben Stiller screaming, going, oh God, I can't even do an impression of him. Stop it! Stop it! It's breaking a bunch of shit, trying to fight them all. But it was a wonderful movie before I knew that David O. Russell treats people like that.
Oh wow, Lily Tomlin's in it, so she went back for more.
Lily Tomlin said maybe that was a fluke and he was really stressed out because it was his second movie. But no, he decided to continue screaming at people for every single movie he's done. No one has said whether or not he screamed on the set of Amsterdam. But I think Christian Bale probably met his match, because I heard that Christian Bale is also a little tyrant on set, screaming.
They were both screaming when they saw the box office results come in for that movie.
They really were. They opened up what's that, Variety, and they said, yeah, oh my God, what that must have made like $6,000 or something.
Yeah, I think some Swifties probably saw it and boosted it a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, why?
Yeah, she's in it.
Taylor Swift is in Amsterdam.
Do
the
you
David
want
O.
a spoiler?
Russell. Yes. Oh yeah.
She gets hit by a car and murdered in it.
In the film Amsterdam by David O. Russell. Oh my God.
I haven't even seen it, but I've seen the clip.
Okay. Wow. Well, okay. I might dip back in. But anyway, when you said Flirting with Disaster, it made me think of that film that I used to truly love, and I love this. I love this title for Summer House.
It works.
It truly works. And let's say overall thoughts. I'll say first, I'll jump out on a huge leap into the chasm of the unknown. I loved this episode. Same. I thought it was rich, vibrant, fun, deep, beautiful. Everything that I've loved about every single episode of this season of Summer House. It is just fucking killing it. I'm so proud of all of them.
Is this episode 10?
Oh my God, you just put me on the fucking spot. 9 or 10. I think it's 10.
Either 9 or 10, but I think it's 10. But the point being that every time I see the number go up, I'm like, we're getting too close to the end. Like,
I know.
I don't feel that way about most shows. Like, usually I'm like, are we fucking done yet? Like,
Beverly Hills
done here? And this, I'm like, even if there's 18 episodes, that means we're more than halfway, and I don't like that.
I know. I can watch it year round. They just go back to the fall in New York City, the Big Apple. Yeah, I don't want it to end either. I can't believe we're at 10. But like Kyle Cook said, he goes, this season is so good that they gave us a full extra episode. So we have that to look forward to.
Okay, good.
So this episode, if I remember correctly, it starts out right with Sierra and Paige as they had their conversation that we saw last week, in which the most explosive thing that Paige said was that she doesn't know for sure if Craig is her person, because obviously we know that Paige is very stressed out about everything that's going on with her life. Craig is kind of pestering her in a way to make him the number one priority when she is getting more and more successful. So she had this heart-to-heart with Sierra where she's really reckoning with it. And Sierra said, why are you putting the onus on Craig? Because Paige said, Craig, if I'm not what you want and this isn't the future, then dump me now. Sierra goes, well, isn't that kind of an out that you're giving? Because it's easier to make someone else do it than you making that decision for yourself. And so that's where we pick right back up on that conversation.
Yes. Throughout the episode, she's really going through it. She says at the top that she feels guilty that she's not more happy because she has everything she's ever wanted. She said she manifested the apartment she lives in. She got a boyfriend who's obsessed with her. Her career's thriving, and yet she's the most anxious she's ever been, which completely colors this entire episode. Like, she's in absolute turmoil the entire time. Like, she is like crawling out of her own skin.
Yeah, I won't step ahead, but very, very beautiful, sad scene coming up between Sierra and Paige, almost a part 2, which I loved. Paige says, it makes me all this stress and all this shit and having to deal with Craig on top of all of it. Also, she's also stressed out. I didn't even realize it, but she's also stressed out at the idea of having to break up with Craig, in addition to everything else that she's stressed out about. So it's like manifesting itself in like double the anxiety, because that's a huge decision that she would have to make in addition to everything she's going through. She goes, it makes me want to run away and change my name. And Sierra goes, I'll go with you. Could you imagine if they both did that? And we were
Thelma
like, where did Sierra and Paige go? And then we'd see
Crappy
photos
Lake.
like, oh my God. Oh, Crappy Lake. Oh yeah. Oh, I was thinking that we never saw him again, and then we would see like a photo of like Hawaii, like when Hannibal Lecter went to Italy with that hat on. We would just see a flash of them, and it'd be like, oh my God, that's where Sierra and Paige went. You know,
I love. I recently watched Hannibal, and they track him down in Italy by the scent. He like sprayed his high class stationery with a beautiful perfume that they were like, only a handful of sellers make this in the world, and they find it immediately.
Human meat perfume. I don't know why the hell he would use that when he was writing letters to Clarice, but they instantly knew that it was Hannibal Lecter and he was in Italy. I love that Italian investigator. I think about it all the time. That Italian guy. Yeah. Oh my God. When he's like, Mr. Lector, do you have any association with this Lecter they keep talking about? And he's like, no.
He's such a stinker. I love it.
He is absolutely such a stinker. They almost teetered on ruining the legacy of those films.
That movie's nuts.
Yeah, that movie is nuts. But I stand that Manhunter is one of the best films I've ever seen, in addition to Silence of the Lambs. So everybody, you got to watch Manhunter. Watch Brian Cox's take on Hannibal. He gives it kind of a different type of... Lector. Okay.
Okay, all right, anyways.
You and I have like a hard out. It's like we talk about Hannibal for the 6th time. Okay, after party. I gotta say this. They go. Sierra and Paige go. We're already up. It's 8 p.m. Let's just stay rocking and rolling. And they go to this after party, and this is just so fun because they finally gave a little bit of the camera time to what they were actually doing instead of just iPhone footage. And it looked like they're just celebrating their asses off. This is a cast that loves each other. They're having fun. Happy birthday, Lindsay and Kyle, one of those club signs that they hold up with fireworks or sprinklers. It's just so fun to see them all enjoying each other and having the time of their life out at a place. Just a bar is what this place is called. Yeah,
they had a real blast. Lindsay, as she will say in this episode, it's her last birthday before having a child, so she's whooping it up. Most of the ladies go home. I have to just point out, week after week, Sierra and Paige, they're officially sharing a room, or
I think they are. I think they are. I asked that question, and Megan said, I think that they're sharing a room. That's why Paige later leaves their room, because she's just so anxious that she wants her own space. Okay. So it's
I'll have
combined.
To blame both of them that their room is disgusting.
Yeah, and I saw that was noted, and I took a peek, and I have to declare, it's messy as hell. Amanda comes back. They all have to break through that door, and then this was a very sweet. The bed bugs all together, Paige, Sierra, and Amanda. They go, oh, it's Lindsay's birthday, technically. Let's FaceTime her. And it's so sweet. Lindsay's in her bed. She's all tucked in like a bed bug herself. And then they just do the last one line of the happy birthday song to Lindsay. They go, what is the last line? And a happy... more. And many more. and happy birthday to you. They did, and they go, oh, we just did the end. I think because now it's you can only just now say the happy birthday song. I've said that a lot of times, right? You used to have to say, and for she's a jolly good fellow, because happy birthday was copywritten, but it just entered the canon, so that's why they were allowed to sing that to Lindsay. But Lindsay loved it, she thought it was so sweet, and I thought that was a cute moment as well.
Yes. Paige, once Amanda goes to bed and her and Sierra are going to bed, she's like, Jesus Christ, my anxiety is already hitting. Craig is going to kill me for that conversation we had. Sierra's like, yeah, he's going to be mad at me too. Like, she's now worried about it.
That's also, I was like, wow, is this a chicken/egg or whatever the better word for that is? It's like, how much did you say? How much lead up did you do on camera to where you're like, I can't justify this when Craig is sitting down with popcorn to watch the new season of Summer House, and he's like, what the fuck was going on? Like, this is what was happening? I had no clue. So she's almost like, it's built up to be like, I have to say something to him, and should I make it that I'm better now? And we resolve these things, or I want to make the decision that I was ultimately leading to, which is like I was preparing possibly for our breakup this summer,
Totally. I mean, that's the only logical way to view how stressed she is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good. Okay, then people start coming home. It's 1:30, and it's playing this terrifying music. Speaking of Manhunter, I was like, what the hell are they preparing us for?
Scary. I know. Scary as hell.
Yeah, and it's Jesse and Lexi. They're not wearing mics. They're at the end of the driveway, so you can't even really see them because they're behind a car. And he's fighting with her. He's like, you can't come up with anything I fucking did besides that dumbass toe sucking or whatever. And he goes, that's way less intense than everything I saw you do tonight. And she's saying, I was holding West up. Your bestie was wasted and I was trying to help him.
Wes was like this. He was like, what's that called? He was just like Scarecrow in Wizard of Oz. He was so drunk, and Lexi had to keep propping him up to make sure that he could stand on his 2 feet.
Right. Yeah. She's like, I was not flirting with him. Jesse is like, you were hanging out with him all night. She says she wasn't. And he goes, you know how I am with stuff like that. And she goes, and you know how I am like that. And he goes, I do, and I love that about you. And I'm just like, everything that happens between them in this episode is just giving like toxic.
Yeah, it's getting a little. Yeah, it's getting a little. There was a moment later where Jesse's like, "I need you close to me. I need to feel you. Hug me. Give me a kiss right now." I was like, "Jesus Christ, guys! Month and a half. What the hell is going on here?" Do you think here? I'm divided on this. Was Jesse trying to provide a false equivalence while he was a drunken mess and be like, "Look what you do. Stop talking about me. Look at you and Wes. You were standing up on his shoulders. What I did was nothing." Or was he letting the red badge of jealousy come out? What does he say? Letting out the red. No, that's anger. Letting out his face of jealousy.
Green envy.
Green envy. What's jealousy? Purple with jealousy? I think it's purple. Was he letting a purple monster out? The purple monster of jealousy? Or is it a combination of both? He was a little jealous, and also he wanted to say, look at what you do when you're out. That's flirting, and that's what Sierra and I were doing. Nothing more than just that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So kind of both. All right.
I agree with both. Then everyone's struggling with the door tonight. There's like 20 moments of people trying to get in through that damn door. And he says again, the way that you were with West tonight is worse than how I was last week and with Sierra, which I find hard to imagine.
I don't believe it. He says later, which we should just say it now. We don't have to talk about it, but he says that he witnessed West doing type massages and stuff that he's never seen in his life before that would even make someone like him blush. He said West was going like this. Go on YouTube. I'm rubbing shoulders. Messing up her hair. Right. Spinning her around in circles, and he goes, it even made someone like me, who's very casual and flirtatious, blush.
Right. It's just like, I'm like, all right, so you guys are just for eternity going to go tit for tat with every physical interaction you have with someone else and be like, see, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Their meter of how bad things are at this stage keeps rising. You know what I mean? It's like it's all of a sudden getting a little to the point where your guys are bubbling over, and it's like you guys sort of had a bad origin story. It's a little too early to be having this. They have
no foundation, so it's like, what are you even talking about? He starts to get very baby-like in bed. He's like, I had such a fun night with you. Give me a hug. Why did we have to have this negative energy? And he's like, I loved actually seeing you being flirtatious and flourishing because it reminds me of how I am.
Yeah. And he says, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. He goes, I love you. I just love you. Don't you love me? And then there's this poignant pause, and she goes, so much. And then they
scream. Also, when he was like under the covers, she goes, why are you huffing and puffing? I was like, what is he doing under there?
He was just still pissed. And also I have to give a little bit, if you like, when you're drunk, you could say anything in the world, like if he was jealous or whatever, it heightens absolutely everything. If he started crying in bed right then, being like, oh my God, I love you so much, it makes me cry. I'd just be like, he's a drunken mess. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, not to step ahead, but he at one point claims that he said that because he was drunk, and she in her confessional is like, he says it all the time, and he said it after 11 days.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Nice try, Jesse.
And I do believe he says I love you all the time, even when he's sober, but I just meant almost any, when people get emotional when they're drunk or they start to cry or they're just saying a bunch of weird shit. It's like you have to allow that into evidence a little bit.
Everyone got lit as hell this night, which I enjoyed.
Amy, I gotta unfortunately say that there's just a little bit of rustling. I don't think we need to cut this out, but unfortunately, I'm hearing a little bit of that New York City rustling over there. But let's not. We don't have to cut it out. I think that this is totally fine. I just want to let you know in case anybody heard some rustling. Okay. Oh, okay. Now we're getting to the B plot of this episode. Emerald comes in and he's got a person they call it the fifth person that comes into the house with them, another person that doesn't want to appear on camera. They just want to go to the summer house and have sex with Emerald in peace. They want to go right up. I'm curious
still about this, how none of them have been seen at all, whereas when they showed a clip of Jessie bringing someone home last year, she was featured completely, and I'm like, has something changed, or is it Emerald specifically said overarching, I'm not going to show anyone that I bring home, or he told each one of them that if they did come home that they don't need to worry? Like, I want to know what's going on.
Too. Or is he saying, hey, do you see me at just a bar? I'm with the entire cast of Summer House. Do you want to come have sex with me in the Summer House?
Right. But then not be shown?
Yeah, I mean, just like I really don't know what is going on here, but we'll talk about it as we go on, because we find out now someone has to be sort of a witness to Emerald's lovemaking in the house. So Paige said, I have to get away from Sierra. I couldn't sleep. I'm so anxious. I just wanted to go in a room of one's own. And then unfortunately she goes, what's that loud noise? I was so worried. And then she finds out it's Emerald having sex with that person that he just brought into the house. And they show a clip, and the girl says, am I making too much noise? And he goes, make more noise, baby. Make it louder and louder. Make the most noise that this summer house has ever heard. And then it's the juxtaposition of Paige, who wants to go to bed, listening to Emerald have 45 minutes of very loud sex next to her.
It was like old times. We haven't heard a headboard a knocking in the summer house for years.
Oh my God, no! And it was Paige says later that she was moaning her ass off, some of the loudest moans you've ever heard. And then this was shocking when they did the 5:32 timestamp. They kind of have Amanda go, "Where the fuck is Kyle?" And then when West and Kyle start scampering up the porch at 5:32, like, I was like, oh my God, Kyle, 5:32. I haven't seen it in my life in a few seasons.
I know.
5:32.
Well, it was his birthday after all, right?
Of course. He comes in, and this time, for the first time, I don't know, I haven't seen it. It's possible it's happened before. Please don't get mad at us. But the door is locked. They're like, no one else is coming in this house for the rest of the night. And so West and Kyle are drunk as hell, banging the shit out of that door trying to get in. And it's Lindsay Hubbard who hears them and lets them in at 5:32 in the morning.
I know, it's so funny. Like, the pregnant woman in the house is awoken at the crack of dawn and has to let these monsters back in.
She was really nice about it too. She just gave him kind of a oh my gosh, you silly kids,
she
coming
was like
in at 5:32.
The most woken from sleep abruptly looking person you've ever seen. Like, she was like, what the fuck?
And it gave me a little tinge, sweet, wonderful tinge of the real implications of the summer house environment again. Right. Coming home at 5, not being able to get in. Like, I love moments like that, always.
Yeah, and West is completely wasted. He's like, oh my God, that was really nice of you. Thank you. And he keeps saying thank you to her like a million times. And Kyle, as always, snacks in the kitchen and then falls asleep with his fly down in that sunroom area, which I always forget is even there.
I think that's typically a production room where camera people can peek out of the windows or set up sound equipment or video village or something, because I've never seen that room ever. Right. And I commend Kyle's ability to sit upright, fully clothed in a chair and go to sleep. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, Kyle is the king of sleeping anywhere, but that was I could not believe he was able to sleep like that.
Right. So then we cut to the morning. Amanda walks around and finds Kyle. She says, I did know that he had made it home because she has a tracker on him. And she you could tell she's sort of thinks it's funny. Like, she's not that mad. She's like, goes and finds him. He's also awoken from the dead. Like, he's like, oh, like, what's going on?
He goes, oh shit. He goes, oh shit. He goes, oh, are we doing the brunch in here? He tries to be like, he's like, it's like, be normal, say something normal or whatever. And Amanda just kind of laughs at him and leaves him in that room.
He's like, huh? I have to say, kudos to Amanda. Obviously, she's doing so much better. It takes a lot of energy to do this whole breakfast like she did. I feel like there were many years when she was not capable of doing something like that.
I know. I thought that was really nice too. It was like a full Amanda orchestrated breakfast for Lindsay. So Kyle, I want to say really quick, Kyle can't cheat anymore if Amanda now shares locations, like, phone locations. Like, if you saw Kyle just, his little icon on your phone and he was like not at where he said he was, you'd be like, oh, I think Kyle's cheating. So that's a huge advancement.
What a win.
Huge win. I mean, the only way he could cheat now is if he said, I'm going to the movies, and then he had sex in like the bathroom of a theater or something. Because then he could, I'm just kidding, but I was saying they share locations.
Do you share locations?
Yes.
I do too.
I don't think this is too personal, but Megan has my location on. I could do anything. Like, I could be like, she knows where I am.
I mostly just like it for like to know how long it will take him to get home, so I can be like, should I put the soup on, or like, can I start watching an episode of something? How much time do I have?
Megan does the same thing. She'll be like, I'm about to make soup, and I can tell that he's 4 minutes away, so I can start heating up soup for when he comes home. So it's convenient. I don't ever use it, but Megan really likes the idea of seeing, where the hell I am.
Yes. Okay. Then we get, this is where Jesse talks about the impropriety between West and Lexi the night before. And he's like, he's trying to claim that he loves it, that we can all be flirty. Like, this is perfect. This is what he wanted. And he's like, she didn't seem to think that she was being flirty, which is interesting because that's how I felt. And I'm like, every time they roll the footage of you and Sierra, it's like, could not be less appropriate.
No. Yeah,
he's
true.
Literally like almost humping her in the pool float. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and I don't think he should not have tried to like make what he did better, because obviously it was more about him saying like, I wish I could have possibly had a chance at Sierra last summer before West, so it's kind of a shitty thing to try to manipulate her into making her seem like, oh, you do just as bad things because West was like rubbing her shoulders, or whatever, something that she really doesn't have any control of.
Right. Paige is furious at Emerald. She goes, I am so done with him. Like, I'm honestly, how many girls has he been with so far this summer? I'm really starting to get grossed out. Sierra's like, of course, agrees. She's like, have some respect for the house. Like, there's a pregnant woman staying here, and they're like completely outraged. Meanwhile, Emerald's in his underwear looking all around the house for his date's shoes that they cannot find.
Where the hell did she put her shoes?
She flung them off. And then, so meanwhile, West is so ill. Like, every time they cut to him for the rest of the episode, he's dying.
I think he wins most hungover person I've ever seen on television before. I mean, he's at the breakfast. He looks like he's about to barf on the bacon that Amanda made. Then he has to lay on a couch next to Lexi, and then he has to lay in that front room area just to get away from all the racket as he processes how much he drank the night before. I've never seen anything like it.
I know. I felt his pain. That's a horrible spot to be in.
I haven't been that hungover in so long. I not even close. So it was shocking for me to see.
Yes. Okay. So then Paige is just popping off on Emerald. She goes, she's like, you need an STD check. And he goes, I use condoms. And she's like, how many girls have you been with so far? And he goes, who's keeping count? And it's like, I mean, I get being annoyed. She said she was woken up multiple times. Like, I get it. But I'm just kind of like, it's kind of a spiritual question of the show itself, that people are getting pissed at someone for hooking up. Like, times have changed. He's also new, so I get that. Like, they're like, you haven't earned your right to bring someone home every single weekend. But it's like a little bit of a weird conundrum, I think, as a viewer.
Yeah, I'm more on the side of what Jesse and Sierra and Paige say. I think it's a little odd to be fucking like that in the house before making like true friendships with anybody. It kind of just seems like he's in his own fuck palace,
Right.
where he's just like, using it to have a bunch of sex. And I don't know if it seems like the viewers, they don't know Emerald enough. I would have said, oh, maybe they're editing out a lot of poignant, wonderful Emerald moments where the cast knows him better, so they enjoy when they hear him screaming and moaning and fucking
Right.
in the house. But no, it sounds like they are like the viewer, where they're like, we barely know you, and you bringing home a bunch of random people and fucking them. And when Sierra later says, do you do this at your own house? Like, would you just be fucking every single night at your own home? I think there's some truth to that. And also, like, why also is he not having sex outside of the house? I mean, it seems like just as much of a possibility for him to say, hey, I want to have sex. Why don't I do it at the other person's house instead of always bringing them back to the summer house? So I don't really, I find it as, I would probably find it as obnoxious as they do if I were in their situation. To be honest, to be fully honest. And I know it's probably, I sound like a prude or something, but I feel the same way that
Jesse
they do.
Jesse is like, maybe do an away game. Like, I only brought one girl home last summer, and it was after I had sort of established myself, and I still only did it once.
Maybe also them not being people on the show and them just being faceless ghosts that go up into his room and kick their shoes off and then get have made love
railed.
to and get railed in the room also makes it seem it's not as easy to
dehumanizing.
I was like I think, but I'm totally, if someone says, like you said, if you're bordering on like, hey, this is the spirit of it. Someone, like you were used to hearing the sounds of sex, and it's okay that they interrupt people's sleep. I'm fine with that too. I think it's just a divide.
It's interesting. But yeah, and I also think the fact that he goes out on his own and then his dates are invisible keeps us from getting to know him. Whereas, like Jesse last year, he, I think, hung out with the group more because he prioritized being in the group and the friendships more. Even though he's a horn dog, I think Emerald could benefit from being more enmeshed into the group.
I think it's like, this is like a horrible analogy, but like, what if on Seinfeld, like Kramer was not like you never heard him talk, but he just went into Jerry's room and he just had sex with a girl every single episode, but you never saw who the girl was and he didn't say anything. You'd be like, I don't.
Never a future star of a different sitcom.
What's that?
There's always like every woman he ever dates ends up being on another show. Like Courtney Cox, Deborah Messing, like what's her name from Frasier? Like it's every actress of the '90s was Jerry's girlfriend.
I was saying, yes, of course, absolutely. I meant if you were watching a sitcom though, and Kramer just came into Jerry's house, and he goes, I have to have sex with someone in your room, Jerry, and you never got to know him as a character. People would be watching the show and they'd be like, I don't know about that Kramer guy. All I do is see him have sex with faceless women in Jerry's apartment. So I think that we don't know Emerald enough to appreciate this new making love spirit is kind of where I land on it. So Sierra and Carl go outside, and Sierra and Carl have a lot of poignant moments that I really like. They're kind of an underrated duo. Yeah. In my opinion, because they have so much shared history. And this is very sweet because Carl tells Sierra, and we were talking about this last week, we get a perfect clip. Carl goes, it was kind of very nice. Lindsay told me at just a bar, she came up to me and she goes, I know that today was tough for you. I'm glad you're making the best of it. And it's very sweet. We asked for this. You and I wanted it. And I think we didn't say that she wouldn't do it. I think we thought that this was very likely, and she did. She went up to Carl. She had that moment. It was very sweet. And Sierra even declares it. She goes, "That is very sweet of her. Like, what a nice thing." And then Sierra says, "I'm going to Montauk to do some shit." And Carl goes, "Can I go with you? I want to go to Montauk too." So they have this moment where they're going to both go on this journey together to Montauk, which comes into play later.
Yes. He says that Sierra has an emotional intelligence that he appreciates, and that is something he's looking for in his next relationship.
They're kind of planting seeds. I said it. I remember there was a little peek at possibly Carl declaring his love for Sierra. They're planting the seeds now that he really wants Sierra back in his life as a friend, or possibly more.
Right. Okay, then we get Sierra and Paige have another conversation. Sierra's like, "I just popped off on Emerald also." And Paige says, she's like, "I'm so fucking anxious. I need to focus on my breathing." Like, she's really freaking out. And Sierra starts to get emotional and is like, "I'm starting to take on your anxiety." And she starts crying. Paige is crying and says that she's just overwhelmed. She doesn't have any days off. She's spread thin. She's like, "Craig is going to freak out about what we talked about." This is when she like puts her face in her hands and is like, he's going to be like, "You're such a fucking bitch. I just want to go home." And then she's just complaining more about, not complaining, but like talking about how she doesn't think that Craig gets what she's going through.
No, is Paige, okay, so I didn't realize at the time that Paige is also gaining anxiety from the future of Craig, because she's talked about all of this stuff. In this conversation, is she saying Craig is going to think I'm such a fucking bitch? Is that directly stating that what she plans to do, which is break up with him, that he's going to call her a bitch? Or is it that she's already laid the groundwork for a lot of Craig relationship turmoil by telling viewers, and so she's worried about the reaction? I didn't know, because when I first watched this, I thought it was her saying, "I'm planning to break up with Craig, and I worry that he's going to say you're such a fucking bitch." So I don't know where you landed on.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought in the promo or the preview, and then I think in the context of this conversation, it could just be about what she has said on camera, like when he finds out. But yeah,
I thought it was really sweet that Sierra was so in tune with Paige's like emotions, and that she knows when Paige is extremely anxious. I don't think I've seen Paige this anxious ever, and she's very vocal about what she's going through. And I just thought it was like such a marker of their friendship that Sierra like can tell that Paige is not in the right place, in the right mindset, and so she like immediately broke down to empathize with her.
Yeah. She's also, Paige is worried about public perception. She's afraid that if they broke up, that people would say Craig is so much better off without her, which they have. And that like she gets what she gets. She's afraid that she's gonna, like, everything she has will go away, that she'll give this one thing up and it'll ruin her whole life. And Sierra's trying to hype her up and is like, "Your success has nothing to do with him. Like, what would you do if no one was watching? Like, you can't worry about that shit," which is like such a poison of like the entire internet talking about your potential breakup is like, then you have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's such an additional factor that you have to think about. But I did like, it was very Sierra saying like, your success has nothing to do with him. Like, the pillars of what made Paige really don't have anything to do with Craig, and they have not toppled at all since the breakup. If anything, she's just gotten more and more successful, like with the book coming out and the press run that they're on and the tour and everything.
Do you think that after all this breakup turmoil and online conversation, that Paige and Carl ever had a conversation about being painted as a villain for breaking up with someone?
Oh, absolutely. I always think about what are the conversations that are like happening off camera about like how they deal with the audience and the narratives that form and all that kind of stuff. Like, the behind the scenes conversations that they almost have are probably twice as interesting as what is actually on camera, of them all navigating the Bravo universe together and what they all say. Like, yeah, totally. I absolutely. I bet they commiserated about that. Okay, brunch time. Yes. Brunch time is here, right?
Yep, it's for Princess Lindsay. She's wearing a sash, and the producers ask Lindsay if she is where she thought she'd be at 38, and she cackles into the moonlight. She goes, I think that timeline ended at like 36, and they show the paper from whenever that was, like the COVID season timeline for life.
Season
and she goes,
5.
Oh, okay. She goes, you guys keep flashing back to it, which before she said that, I was like, why? They keep implying that thing is iconic, which I hadn't thought that, but apparently it's in her arsenal for iconic moments.
Yes, I haven't seen it in probably 3 seasons, but Lindsay has the highlight reel. I think I've already said this before. Every Bravo celebrity probably has their highlight reel of what their iconic moments are, and they probably don't completely correlate with what the audience has found iconic throughout the years. So I think this one, Lindsay was like, you love showing this list. You guys can't stop showing that thing.
Madison.
Oh my God. His highlight reel, Austin's. I also was like, she goes, when she laughed, she does laugh. Mm-hmm. She laughs at this question. But I was like, it's not that far off. You're not married to Stravi, but you're pregnant and you're going to have a baby at 38. You're 2 years off from a hypothetical timeline that you had in COVID.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, besides marriage, it was pretty, I don't know, not so far off. Do you agree with me or?
Yeah, I guess it's just the circumstances are unexpected.
Yeah. And it was definitely Lindsay was giving the producer something to play with there. They go, put that thing up if you want it, if you need an extra 20 seconds in the edit.
Roll the Stravi clips of him flopping, giving her fish and chips for her birthday. She says that Turner's taking her to dinner tonight. She doesn't know where, but somewhere fancy, presumably.
Where do you think? Cassie Cipriani or Elaine's?
Oh, is that still there?
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
I hope they had a
classic
wonderful evening. But yeah, it's weird because we just don't know what his deal is. And then we already talked about Jesse and Lexi saying "I love you" and how it's weird. And then there's also a scene when Lindsay gives Carl his mail. So like she's still getting his mail at the apartment.
Oh, I liked that too. She goes, mail's here. And Carl goes, what have you got for me this week, Lindsay? And it's their dynamic is, besides Lindsay's blip, which oh my God, we didn't talk about this. I think Queens of Bravo posted this, iconically, Queens of Bravo. Thank you for bringing this information to light. But Lindsay Hubbard, somebody goes, what you all don't understand about Lindsay is that she was half joking when she called into question the cheating timeline. She was reacting off what she heard about Summer. You have to see that there was a wink and a nod of humor when Lindsay said this. And Lindsay goes, ha ha, yes. Why don't people see this? It is true that I had a half humorous stance while I was reciting this, and you and I kind of laughed about this on the side. I'll say
she says she's been laughing ever since, and I'm like, you were not dead serious and furious as hell when you asked him if he was texting someone last summer. You were definitely joking. Yes,
I saw a lot of that classic wink wink Lindsay humor when you were talking to Carl about that. But but then anyway, what I was saying was that, like, besides that little anger towards Carl, she's been generally very nice to him. I would give her a perfect, like, wow, Lindsay, you were handling this so well, besides that one moment.
I know. If she hadn't have taken a detour on the weekend of his brother's death,
yes,
she would have had a good run. That was a major step backwards. But
let's give her two points off. So she was a 10 out of 10, obviously, this season so far. I'm knocking her down to an 8 out of 10.
Okay. But yeah, I'm relieved that she said kind words to him. I needed that personally.
So what did that bump you up point wise?
6.5.
Great. Great. Oh my God. Great. Well, let this stand on the record. 6.5 for Lindsay Hubbard on her report card. Yeah, 6.5 on Lindsay's report card, and I'm giving her a solid 7.5. I had to dock her one half point. Okay, all right. Do we have to talk about Lexi? And
all I want to say is one of the producers really got a note or decided that this little trio of women, Lexi's family, is something that we are dying to see, and I'm like, Next.
Yeah, I think they keep being like, what's going on in your house? It's 2 bedrooms and everyone lives with you, but it's just not that interesting when we hear more and more details about it. It sounds like they're kind of, they're like a agency together that is representing Lexi on her modeling career that has lasted for 10 years. I did like when they said wherever they were at, they said these are the best espresso martinis in the city. That made me say to myself, holy shit. I got to know where the hell that is. And you, because you're taking a bite out of the Big Apple now, you could quite possibly get the best espresso martini in the city if you found out.
Lexi is like who I want to be my guide, but I can see where it is and judge for myself.
She's been a New Yorker for 10 years. Sure. That's like the Alec Baldwin Hall of Fame New Yorker award. I also think that you could go to the Soft Bar Pillars.
Right. I should go find it.
Yes.
I think I can walk there, technically.
I saw Soft Bar has a bunch of wood slats that are being built right now. You could go into the space and be the first person to have an NA cocktail in those walls.
Yeah, I should go sign the beam so that it's built with love.
Just be careful in there.
Okay, well, I'll wear a hard hat. So yeah, Lexi and her family get martinis. Anyways, then we have, I didn't see this coming, American Cancer Society Hope Lodge. Jesse's sort of an ambassador and invites the entire cast to come do this luncheon. It's like a place where people can go while they're getting chemo and just get free food and support and everything. And I was like, that's
this was
nice.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, where the hell are they now? I had no idea. And then when Jesse started talking, I was like, oh my God, this is like such a wonderful thing they could do, especially with the group. It's like, everybody got a thing to showcase, I guess, in the city, and Jesse wanted to showcase this. And I didn't know that this Hope Lodge existed. It's like one of the most charitable, beautiful things I can imagine, that you can stay somewhere for free in New York City if you have to get treatments at this lodge. That is like such a nice thing that they offer.
I have to say, I kind of blanked out on, I remember, of course, Jesse's cancer journey and scare last season, but it's not something I've been thinking about. And I'm like, he only just like less than a year ago wasn't sure if he had like cancer again. So I was like, I kind of haven't thought about that in a minute. So
I think about it all the time as someone who worries about his health every single day. I have not forgotten about it, especially when Jesse was like he was so upset having to think about the results or feeling that lump that he had, that calcium lump. It's like, oh my God. But he does a beautiful thing. We got to talk about 2 moments here. First of all, when Carl and Sierra went down to Montauk, Carl goes, guess what? I met someone in Montauk. And Sierra goes, oh my God. And he goes, yeah, we just had a little bit of fun, wink, wink. And Sierra goes, by fun, do you mean you had sex with someone? And he goes, yeah, we had sex. And Sierra lights up like a Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center. She's so happy and proud of Carl for ending that streak. It was really sweet. An iconic Carl and Sierra moment.
Yeah. Proud of him. Jesse's like, he was wearing my sunglasses, so I helped him get it done. Sierra's like, I drove him there. They're like supporting him, and I was like, that's cute.
Did you see that clip where Jesse at the beginning of this episode, he goes, I want to lift Carl's penis up and put it in a vagina myself because I'm so want him to have sex? And I was like, I don't think that was in the edit last week. It was like a brand new scene that they included in the I
didn't catch that.
Anyway, I just like that they're all rallying around Carl so that he can have sex again.
Yes. And then right off of that moment, Jesse and Sarah are being chummy, and she sort of like touches his arm, and he goes, Sierra, chill on the touching. And I think at first she thinks he's joking and then realizes that he's serious. And she's like, what? And he's like, I'm the one that got yelled at. Like, it's not my thing, like not my rules.
Yeah, and he was really serious. Like he didn't have a joking demeanor at all. He was like, "I'm the one who got yelled at for what we did." So it was almost like a chastising her. Please don't touch me. And you can watch Sierra go from 3 different levels of fun shock to, oh my God, grappling with it being true, to then being like embarrassed and pissed off, being like, what the hell are you talking about? I cannot believe you just did that to me on camera.
Right. Yeah, and then he gives a speech to the entire group, and West hugs him after, and Lexi doesn't. Like, you don't see them interact in this environment at all.
They cut to here. This is mean, but let me be mean for 1 second. Come on. They cut to Jesse giving his beautiful speech, and then they do that thriller music, horror movie music, and they have Lexi's eyes go back and forth. I just on YouTube I did eyes back and forth, and I think that Lexi thought that she'd be talked about in the speech. No offense.
Oh, interesting.
But that's like just so off base and not at all right. I was just like, that's what I thought. I was like, did you expect maybe he would announce like, and I've got the love of a wonderful woman in my life that can get me through anything. Lexi Wood, everybody.
Oh my God. Yeah, you can tell by her confessionals that by the time she recorded them, she was just ready to throw him under the bus at every turn.
Oh, it's fully over. I watched What Happens Live finally with Lexi, and I was like, what are we even pretending here? It is so clearly a relationship that is done the way that they're talking about this. There's no mystery like there was with West and Sierra.
Right.
I did like to end it. I did love when West said, do you want a hug after that? Like, just knowing that Jesse might want one, and then they hug.
Yeah,
it was so sweet.
I mean, that was part of their bromance last season. Such a big part of it was him being there for him when he was getting those results and stuff.
What an amazing friendship for two people who met as new cast members last season who didn't know each other at all, right? They had never met before this. Like, that is, just an amazing new friendship for both of them.
Totally. Okay. Now they're doing Chili Spawn.
Oh my God. Could you? Oh my God. I would. That is like the coolest thing you could ever advertise.
Yes.
I wonder what's going on at Chili's nowadays. They had those.
Yeah. I was going to say I went recently and I was underwhelmed.
Really? Oh no. Oh, they need a kick in the ass.
I think so.
They had a huge kick in the ass 6 months ago when Sheena and Katie Maloney made those wonderful. Speaking of the best espresso martinis in the city, I've never had a better one than the Encino Chili's. That thing flew me to the moon. But anyway,
faster than Bezos.
Yeah, oh, totally. Oh my God. Even he couldn't come near what Chili's was doing. Speaking of lunch, the Paige and Sierra and Amanda get a little casual New York City lunch, and first they talk about their pets, what they're all going through. I think Paige says that Daphne was getting all of her teeth in.
Oh,
is that what she said?
Teething. Yeah. Yeah, I love getting the cat clips, as I've said before. And then they do talk about Craig, who apparently came to New York that Sunday when she Ubered home, which I was like, damn, how much did that cost for her to Uber from the summer house to her apartment?
Yeah, we didn't mention that she kept saying, like, I just want to leave right now. I want to go home. I want to leave in an Uber right now. Like, she really just wanted to be by herself to focus, like, because she's racked with anxiety. So, yeah, I couldn't even imagine. What do you think? Can I guess? $370?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think more?
Maybe.
Oh, this is a huge... Do we have any New York City Villa Rosa VIPs or Little Turtle Cuties? I think we have a couple. Let us know how much a Uber ride from the Hamptons area to New York City would be on a Sunday.
Yeah, and I bet she does like black car, so I bet it's like $400 or something. More maybe. I don't know. But yeah, let us know.
I can't even imagine. 620?
Maybe. If personally speaking, if I'm anxious, I think I would rather just go with my friends and be like, I'm not going to talk, rather than be with a stranger. Like, I don't even like taking an Uber anyways.
I'm like that too. I'd probably rather be around a bunch of people that were like hanging out and drinking beers or something and to get my mind off of it. But sometimes I think if you need to prepare, I'm like this actually. If I'm anxious about an upcoming thing, I cannot think about anything else except what all the work I want to put into doing the thing that's next. So maybe she is just so worried about like Giggly Squad shit or the tour,
Sure.
you know? Yeah. Okay.
Apparently Craig came over because he was going to be in New York anyways. And she said that he could tell she was anxious, that he sounded like he said, how long is it going to be like this schedule wise? Like he was working out his fall schedule. She basically said she doesn't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with any of this right now, and she wants to push everything until after the tour.
Yes. Yep, she does, and that makes sense to me as well. It's like I don't have another thing that I can put on my plate. Like this is going to be the biggest deal in the world, me having to deal with Craig and the fallout from this. So let's do this all after the Giggly Squad tour, and that's what she did, right? Because the tour happened, and then once she got done, right before the holidays, she decided to make that decision.
Well, now they're
and then
on a freaking book campaign, so I'm like, she's now has another thing happening.
Yeah, they're going to be at the Los Angeles Festival of Books in the next couple of weeks, signing copies of Giggly Squad. So any, LA.
That's kind of a fun event.
Oh, it's the best. Me and my friend saw Jonathan Franzen live there. It was so awesome. Oh my God, he was fun as hell. He was like a total rock star. He came out, he played the acoustic guitar for a few minutes. Anyway.
Didn't Allie and James perform at it last year for some reason?
Yeah, of course. She was playing her debut hit song, Girls Girl, and James was right behind her, kind of backing her up with, I think, DJ equipment or something. I'll never be able to erase that image from my mind. Okay, then Sierra drops a bomb. She goes, "Enough, everyone. Let me say something." She goes, "Why the hell weren't you at this event? You guys wanted to skip out on a beautiful event for charity." And Paige goes, "I was working." And Amanda goes, "I was working too. Kyle was too." And it's like they don't blame them too much. Obviously, they just couldn't make it. But she does say it was a beautiful event. Jesse's speech was wonderful. It's the most charitable thing they've ever done, as a group. And then she goes, "But guess what, Jesse? I touched Jesse about something, like in shock, and he goes, 'Don't ever touch me,' or something, please don't touch me." And he goes, I'm the one who got yelled at for all of our flirtatious." And then Sierra basically says, "If you're going to say that kind of shit to me, I will write you off forever. I won't even look at you again for the rest of the summer, and you're going to get your feelings hurt."
Yeah. She's like, "Don't forget, I will make you feel like absolute garbage if you hurt my feelings."
Yeah, so a huge stand there. Jesse is going to have to learn whether or not he wants to ruin his relationships with Sierra, someone it seems like he really values and cherishes in his life and has a really strong rapport with, or if he wants to continue on this Lexi journey that seems kind of fraught and filled with complications pretty early. So that's going to set up a interesting dynamic, we know, in the future. And then don't get me started on what the hell's coming up next week. I mean, God damn. Schwartzy pops in. He looks so happy to be with his favorite friends on Summer House. They go to a lunch, and Jesse goes, "Hey, did Sierra give you a hand job on the way to Montauk to Carl?" Which I'm not sure why that was even a question. And Carl goes, "No, she didn't, but she's an absolutely gorgeous woman." And then they kind of cut him off, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you setting up that you have feelings for Sierra for that ultimate conversation, that you might have with her?"
I feel abused with this tease. I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah. Wait, so you think if Carl declares his love to Sierra and he says, "I've always loved you and I'm sorry about the Lindsay shit. I've loved you actually secretly the whole time," that Sierra is not going to date Carl?
None of that is happening.
All right. Well, me, I predict things wrong, and I don't think that's going to happen. And then Paige says what we have said multiple times. She goes, "If it's this hard, this early, you got all this shit going on, you're already having to deal with so much shit. It's not a good sign for your relationship." Right. So,
yeah, I know. What a waste of I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of excited. It's fun to watch it devolve in real time,
Yes.
Like it was such a flop.
Oh yeah, no, it's perfect. It's perfect for the entertainment of Summer House to have a relationship start this quickly and then just peter out throughout the summer. It's exactly what they would want from this cast. So anyway, Summer House, I mean, it's just ripping. Everyone's watching it. Everybody's loving Summer House. You can't get enough of it. And then I hope that you also enjoyed Amy and I talking about the Valley, which we're so excited to talk about. I mean, if you're listening to Turtle Time and you're like, there's an episode where they talk about the Valley and Summer House, I hope that brings you the most joy that you could ever experience in life when you know that episode is coming out.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining us yet again. It's the high season that we've got a lot of good stuff coming. And but like we always say, if you want even more, we're on Patreon for that old-timey Vanderpump. We're on season 6. Lala is sucking on a bottle right now.
And we had a good discussion. Villa Rosa VIPs and us had a great discussion where we said, is it quite possible that Lala was faking drinking that, sucking on a bottle because she wanted to be like an eccentric celebrity that does a weird thing? And I would say it's 70-30. People think Lala faked that eccentric bottle behavior. So that's the type of shit that you can only get as a Villa Rosa VIP, where we have discussions like that about Vanderpump Rules. And also, don't you want more Vanderpump Rules in your life? You're going to miss it so bad in season 12 when you see that new cast. You're going to be like, I want to go back to the glory era. And Amy and I basically have the glory era in our pockets over on Patreon. So that's it. And please review us for the love of God. That helps Amy and I so much. Just review us anywhere. Comment on YouTube. Like us on Instagram. Do all this shit. Make it a turtle time day where you just go absolutely nuts with our content, please.
Please. Yes. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right, Amy, have fun in the greatest city on earth, New York City, and I will see you very soon.
You know I will.
Goodbye.
See ya.